and we'll play them at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning, which should be awesome. Everybody, I would assume, wakes up in a great mood today. It was a cool night for Seattle sports. Cal Raleigh just taking Seattle sports and putting it on the map and dominating and showing the baseball world and probably beyond the baseball world, right? Because you probably get some other more casuals who tune into something like the Home Run Derby. And he just kind of shows what it is that we've all been watching. I thought Passan wrote a great piece yesterday. Before we even get into the Derby, and I got some other cool stuff today as well. But before you even get into the Derby, if you got a chance to read Jeff Passan's piece, he told us about it last week. I asked him what was going to make it different, and he said, I wrote it. And honestly, he might be right. Like, it's just really, really good stuff from Passan. And he has a line, I think it was actually just even in the tweet about the piece, saying that, you know, the world is discovering the secret that we've had in Seattle for the last couple of years. And he's right. It was really cool to see the exact same person that we've gotten to know here in Seattle just out on the biggest stage and in front of everybody in the sport, just kind of being Cal, right? Ripping bombs down the line from both sides of the plate, hulking presence in the batter's box, the big dumper on display, the fun of the nickname, but also some of that real genuine dude stuff that comes with it. And, you know, the humility, all of it, just very much on display with Cal. And what I love about Cal, I was thinking about this last night. What I love about Cal's humility is that it's real, it's genuine, and it doesn't in any way take away from some of the fun, over-the-top cockiness that you saw from some of the other participants last night. This is not a either or. This is not a, hey, you should be this way, you shouldn't be that way. Really the opposite. Something about the way Cal approaches it makes me believe, and I know some of this to be true just knowing Cal a little bit, he didn't look down at Junior Caminero and Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neill Cruz and the rest of that group just, you know, jumping up and down and supporting each other and some of the show and flair that goes with it. He didn't look down on that.
He just stays humble throughout the whole process.
He just does his thing. He's focused on him, not on what the other guys are doing. So I don't know. That jumped out to me. I had a blast last night. I watched the Derby with my daughter, Cecily. Avery was out. She came back later and was very intrigued by Cal's brother, so we can talk more about that later if you want. But Cecily was watching with me, and obviously she's rooting for Cal. But as she's watching, like halfway through, and she's like, Cecily needs to, I mean, she really struggles watching people lose or teams lose. So she's starting to like make it okay for herself just in case Cal doesn't win. But within a few minutes, she's like, I could root for O'Neill Cruz. She's like, if he wins, that'd be just fine. Love the height, 6'7", love the hair, love him just hitting bombs. So she's cool with that. Then she's watching Junior Caminero. She's like, yeah, the eyebrows are awesome. The sunglasses on the bat. Okay, I could root for Junior Caminero. So she just like kind of found a way to enjoy all of the participants. And I got to tell you, I was too. I really enjoyed it last night. It was awesome that Cal won, and you know, we can have this conversation about what it is we are watching with Cal, who is really turning into, I mean, something that I certainly didn't expect. I said he wasn't even the top 10 most intriguing Mariner, obviously. But he's making this star turn, and it just feels so magical for him. That was amazing. But I just thought the event was cool. Showcase some of the personalities and some of the dudes that are in this sport right now. And it is too bad that you don't get a few others. Both my kids were wondering where Aaron Judge was. And it's like, yeah, you know, not all of the biggest home run hitters do it. Shohei Ohtani not doing it. I mean, how cool would it have been to see Cal up there with those guys? Even better, right? But just a fun night for baseball, fun night for anybody who loves the sport, and an incredible night for Cal and his family, and we'll talk through a little bit more of that. By the way, maybe the hidden breakout star of last night, Vinny Pasquantino. Who would have guessed that Vinny Pasquantino is hilarious? He never really tweets, but I guess he kind of jumped on last night to live tweet the Derby. And there's a couple in here that are really funny. He says, "Oh, I'm Cal Raleigh. I hit a lot of home runs. I hit from both sides of the plate. I play the most valuable position. I have one of the coolest nicknames in sports. Screw you, man." Dude, that is awesome. And the fact that anybody in the world got mad at him for it is even more funny. And he has to
love these accounts.
Oh, it's so funny.
People do this.
And he's got to be like, "Hey, guys, this was a joke." Like, dude, I wish he hadn't even said it was a joke. So much better to just leave it up there and let the idiots not understand, but whatever. I thought that was great. And it just got me looking back over his tweets from earlier in the night. Dude, this is so funny. He says, "You think Skeens knows what Ellie, Cattell, and Tatis are saying? Sometimes I go out for a mound visit with Sal or Freddie, with Estevez, Zeppa, and Cruz, and they only speak Spanish, and I have absolutely no clue what's being said, but I give a good vamo at the end, and I feel like I contributed." Dude, I'm all in on Vinny Pasquantino, new favorite player, so he's the breakout star there along with Cal. Fun night for both of those guys, and just cool to see the whole deal. So, 253 saying that was the best damn home run derby I've ever watched. Yeah, I think I would agree. It was certainly right up there, and I went to the Derby a few years ago when it was here, and that was cool. We saw Julio do his thing and break that record, and saw Rutschman hit from both sides. Yeah, yesterday was, obviously for a Seattle fan, probably the greatest since Junior, so pretty darn cool. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to get to here is this guy from the 425 says, "Salk, I was in a bar in Sun River, Oregon. As I was finishing watching the Derby, the Jim Abbott doc came on. No sound, but within 5 minutes, I look around, and everyone is staring at the TV and having side conversations about how great he was and how, awesome it is." Well, thanks for sending that in. I appreciate that, 425. Jim Abbott's going to join me this morning at 7:30. Second time we've had him on the show. Brock and I talked to him, I think it was April 28th, 7 years ago, so 2018. He joined me and Brock on my 40th birthday because Jim Abbott is an incredibly inspirational figure in my life. And you guys have probably heard me tell the story before of how I hurt my hand when I was 12 years old in a water skiing accident. I was in the hospital for about a month. 10 surgeries, 7 of them coming while I was in the hospital, where they essentially, had to repair a partially severed hand. And, I was 12 years old and didn't think I'd play baseball again. I'd figured out ways to do other things. But my great aunt and uncle took me to go see Jim Abbott pitch in Anaheim. And afterwards, I figured it out. Like, hey, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And just an incredibly inspiring figure for me. Well, it turns out I'm not alone. Not that that's a big surprise. Jim Abbott is obviously enormously inspirational to so many people. So I watched the E60 documentary yesterday. It's great. It is really great. Yes, maybe it was more meaningful to me, and I definitely teared up quite a few times during it. And his story is not the same as mine at all. And obviously he's blessed with so much more athletic ability, and what he did with his ability is incredible. He really became one of the best pitchers in baseball for a few years. And they take you through the home, the no-hitter that he threw and tell the story almost through that lens. Some of the stories of kids that he met along the way and what they ended up becoming. I mean, it's really powerful, and you could feel how he wanted to push a lot of that attention away. He didn't want to be the one-handed pitcher. He just wanted to be a pitcher. But when you see the effect that your story is having on others, I think it's really hard for him to avoid that. And it really is special. And he speaks about some weaknesses, and there's a great interaction with Jack Curry. Honestly, the whole thing is great. So if you have ESPN Plus and can go watch it whenever, go do it. Take an hour and a half, watch the Jim Abbott documentary. Just absolutely loved it. And we'll talk to him this morning at 7:30. Right after that, we got both Shannon Drayer and Jason Churchill coming in for a full-on Mariner roundtable here at the halfway point. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll do that for 2 hours from 8 to 10. And, if you missed Johnny Bench yesterday, the Hall of Famer, Johnny Bench, who turns out has a lot to say about Cal Raleigh and really everything else. We'll play that for you coming up in 20 minutes. We'll be right back with everything you need to know next. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
The All-Star Fantastic Four. It's now the Mariners' Fantastic Five.
Welcome to Randyland.
As Randy El Rosarena joins Andres, Brian, Julio, and Cal.
Holy smokes.
In the 2025 Midsummer Classic. Today at 5 from Truist Park in Atlanta. On the home of the Mariners. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Granger who does the same. Granger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken.
Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit BayAlarm.com today.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even bad hair day?
Yep.
And tree branch fell on my car day?
Especially that day. Progressive has you covered 24/7 for your home and auto.
How about thought it was chicken, but it was tuna day? Or overnight construction outside my bedroom day?
Those days too.
Great, because that was each day this week.
Been there. Well, at least your home and auto are covered every day with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Whether you're building a single roof or a successful roofing business, roofing contractors like you need the right tools for the job, and software is no exception. Service Titan is on a mission to be the most powerful software platform for the trades, with purpose-built technology proven to maximize revenue, streamline operations, and deliver 5-star customer experiences. We are taking roofing companies like yours to the next level and beyond. Service Titan. We are built for this. See what we can do for roofers at servicetitan.com.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, it didn't start off perfectly for Cal, but it sure ended that way. A dream night for Cal Raleigh in the home run derby, and nearly didn't advance out of the first round. His 470-foot home run was deemed to be about an inch longer than Brent Rooker's 470-foot blast. And so Cal got the last spot in the semis. He took advantage.
Oh, yes. Got on top of that one. How about his brother right there? Good hack. It's fitting that his Seminole hits it to the chop house. 19 for the big jumper.
Yeah, that was how he took down O'Neal Cruz in the semis, and then it was Junior Caminero, who we saw in the finals, and Cal wins it all.
No, it will not get out. The Dominican dominance comes to an end. The big dumper is your home run derby champion for 2025.
So unbelievable, man. Of course he is. But with everything else coming up, Cal this year, of course he would be the home run derby champion. Why wouldn't he be? Becomes, look, every day I feel like I just get to do, or we all do, these like rundowns of everything new Cal has done that no one has done before. First catcher to win the derby. First switch hitter to win the derby while hitting from both sides. He took some of his hacks right-handed. And second Mariner, of course, the other being Ken Griffey Jr., who won it 3 times. In fact, Junior had a little chat with Cal afterwards.
He was just super proud of me. Obviously, really cool to see him there the whole time and trying to look like him with a backwards hat. So hopefully I made him proud.
He liked that big chain that he was given afterwards. I thought that was a nice look for Cal, and he's out there with his whole family. I'll play some sound of his dad and his brother coming up here a little later. Just amazingly cool, the family affair for the Raleighs, and then seeing the rest of the family afterwards. How can you not love the guy? How can you not root for him? He's such a special and authentic person, and it just comes out every time he's put in the spotlight like that. One thing that did jump out to me, and maybe one of the reasons he was able to win, and listening to the guys on ESPN yesterday saying, look, it's the breath that you lose in the first round, but in the later rounds, it's the legs that go. Well, maybe that's where the dumper comes in handy, because he was better, even with fewer swings, later in the tournament. Is that because he's got the legs like that? Yeah, probably is. That's where so much of his power comes from, and sure seemed to help him and work for him yesterday.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, 2025 draft is in the books. Mariners selected 21 players, 13 of them pitchers. 3 of those are lefties. 8 position players, so that's 3 catchers, a couple of shortstops, and 3 outfielders as well. All different names from the second day stand out. I'll give you a few. Lefty Mason Peters from Dallas Baptist, and righty Jackson Steensma from Appalachian State. Both guys, just kind of looking and reading through it, seem to fit the mold of what it is the Mariners tend to have success with. Maybe not dominant college pitchers, but either have a great spin rate or a funky arm angle or just something that stands out to them. Obviously, I can ask Jason Churchill a little bit more about this when he joins us starting at 8 o'clock this morning for a roundtable with Shannon Drayer. back to the beginning of the draft, right? Cade Anderson, the number 3 overall pick. Joe Doyle joining Bump and Stacy yesterday says, yeah, he may already be the best prospect in the Mariners' already stacked system.
It's a coin toss for me. I mean, it's really close between him and Colt Emerson. I think they're both probably at about the same level. I think Colt Emerson is right on the verge of being able to make that jump to Double-A, possibly by the end of the season. And I think Cade Anderson could strike out and perform at a high level at the high A level right away, and he could pitch in Double-A at the start of 2026 as well. So I have both of them actually as top 25 prospects in the sport. I have Cade Anderson at 25. I have Colt Emerson at 23. So for now, Emerson has a slight nod on the top 10 Mariners prospect list, but it is close.
How about that? I mean, already a top 25 prospect in the game, just adding to the Mariner list. Pretty darn impressive, very cool. Bump and Stacy, Wyman and Bob yesterday got a chance to talk to his college coach, Jay Johnson from LSU, and yeah, he says dude's just about ready.
Well, in my opinion, you're getting the player that is the closest to helping a major league team that was available in this draft. And I do believe he will be a long-time major league starting pitcher, successful starting pitcher. The pitch ability is outstanding. 4 pitches for a strike. Never boxed in to, if he doesn't have one pitch, he's always got ways to get guys out. Both left and right-handed hitters, power, solid hitting, steals guys. Strikes are... He just fills up the zone.
Yeah, there's a lot in there and a lot to like, and looking forward to getting to meet this kid and see him out on the mound for the Mariners.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
ESPN still going through their top 10 positional list. Off-ball linebackers this morning. No top 10s for the Seahawks, but Ernest Jones was in the others receiving votes category. Interestingly, there were 32 names on this list in total, so this is either a very deep or a very thin position, depending on how you look at it. Jones was number 31. How much of this is about fit? I would think a lot of it, right? And that was in a lot of the different comments about guys like, oh, he's a perfect fit in this system. And it makes sense, right? Maybe that's why Jones has played better here in Seattle than Jordan Brooks or than some of the other guys that were here last year. Bobby, an honorable mention. Half of the top 10 were not on the list last year at all. So clearly lots of movement up and down on this list in particular. I like some of the leadership stuff that we got from Ernest Jones last year, and even more once he signed the deal this offseason. Kind of like this very short quote on, hey, how good's the defense going to be?
I like us, man. I like us versus anything and anybody. And that's how I leave it.
I like us versus anything and anybody, and that's how I'll leave it. Pretty cool. That's everything you need to know. Quarter past every hour here on the Brock and Salk show. 509 says that chain had Kirk Cousins vibes. Yeah, I mean, he won the chain. He didn't, choose it. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit different. It's more of an award than a chain that he was wearing around for fun. His brother did steal the show. His brother was awesome. And obviously, I'll mention him a little bit more detail later. Just a cool deal. Seeing Cal and his brother and his dad and the rest of the Raleigh family. I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy to say. I feel like I just keep repeating the same thing. It's kind of how it was. This is the season of Cal. He just is introducing himself to the world, and unsurprisingly, they're falling in love with him. He's like the perfect athlete for this time. And he certainly rises to the occasion when given the opportunity to do so. Not unlike the guy who you will hear from next. Johnny Bench is the greatest catcher of all time. Turns out he's one of the best interviews. Also, I had no idea what we were going to get yesterday. Johnny's 77, I think it is. And I didn't know what to expect other than that, he's a Hall of Famer, and I remember watching him as a kid. I didn't think he would sing for us, but he did, among many other things that you'll hear next. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
The All-Star Fantastic Four. It's now the Mariners Fantastic Five.
Welcome to Randyland.
As Randy Arozarena joins Andres, Brian, Julio, and Cal.
Holy smokes.
In the 2025 Midsummer Classic. Today at 5 from Truist Park in Atlanta. On the home of the Mariners. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Mike Salk here, and we're getting real close to August 8th, guys. That is the day for an unforgettable summer experience that Snoqualmie Casino opens up the big hotel. Yes, bookings are open right now at snocasino.com. Enjoy an unforgettable summer experience, right? At the hotel, get a beautiful room with breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley, the expanded non-smoking gaming floor, the big destination spa, entertainment space, new restaurants. Yeah, it's all at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
It's time for your summer road trip service at Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton. Before you hit the road, stop by and get your vehicle road trip ready with their incredible service departments, no appointment necessary. Now through July 31st, you can receive $100 off when purchasing 4 eligible tires. Whether you're in the north or the south, their expert technicians have you covered. Visit Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland today for your summer road trip service and drive into adventure with confidence. Offers valid through July 31st, 2025. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Brad's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, where batteries are as low as $89.99. Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Brad is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app. Summer is here and Washington Energy's BOGO 40% off sale is on now. Update and enhance your home with beautiful new windows and doors expertly installed by Washington Energy Services. Save today with one of our best deals of the year. Buy one energy efficient window, get the second at 40% off. And BOGO 40% off all entry, patio, and interior doors right now. From traditional to modern home updates and with over 65 years of award-winning installations, Washington Energy is the clear choice. Call today for a free estimate.
Hey everybody, it's Bob Stelton here. Let me tell you about one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. That's when I went to K2 Vision for refractive lens exchange. Now, if you're somebody like me who struggled with distance vision, maybe you always need a pair of reading glasses, K2 Vision RLE could be your perfect permanent solution like it was for me. And here's the cherry on top. You'll never develop a cataract. K2 Vision RLE is quick, painless, and I am seeing great now without glasses or readers. I can actually read restaurant menus. I can read the receipts when they show up. I can read texts on my phone. It's amazing. RLE is an absolute game changer. I'm so excited to spend my good active years not needing reading glasses. K2 Vision RLE gave me great vision that's permanent. The doctors at K2 Vision have performed over 150,000 lens procedures, so they know when RLE is right for you. Schedule your free Zoom consultation today at K2VisionRLE.com. K2 Vision RLE, no readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. K2VisionRLE.com.
Celebrate 50 seasons of Seahawks football at Lumen Field and take your game day to the next level with premium hospitality and incredible views. Host a one-of-a-kind event in a private game day suite or get front row access with sideline and end zone field seats. For more on how to elevate your game day at Lumen Field, visit Seahawks.com/premium.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, this is going to be really cool. I'm excited about this. Cal Raleigh's having just an unbelievable historic season. Every day you wake up and Cal's broken some other record, and the records he's breaking are from some of the all-time greatest players. It's just an unbelievable half season so far from Cal. Who better to talk about it than the greatest catcher of all time, Johnny Bench, the Hall of Famer, kind enough to take a few minutes with us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Morning. Very kind of you to say that. Thank you very much. I am good, and I am really excited about Cal and what he's done. I had the pleasure of, at the Gold Glove Awards last year in November, of sitting with him at lunch and talking about catching, talking about hitting. And, of course, this is his third year in a row. He's already hit 30 home runs or more. And we talked about RBIs, which I think is the most important thing that any player can do and should try to achieve. And he was a remarkable young man. I really enjoyed our time together. And then he goes out and steps it up beyond everybody's belief. Not his maybe, but the numbers are staggering, and to the point where and guys like him and the Seattle area deserve, because it's kind of, they're putting it together. It's chasing the Astros, being a playoff-bound team possibly. So it's really exciting when you meet a young man that has desires and drive and goals, and then goes out and achieves them. And then he goes and wins the Gold Glove Award and wins the Platinum Award. So kudos off to Cal.
Yeah, he's a pretty remarkable guy. I'm curious about what that was like when you first, was it about a year ago? I think you said that you first had a chance.
November, yeah, it was in November.
So what is that like? Where do you meet Cal, and what do you guys end up chatting about?
Well, it was we had the Gold Glove, and he was up for the Gold Glove, and he won the Gold Glove for Rawlings, and so we have a luncheon that afternoon. And we walked across the street to the restaurant, and we found, I don't know why. We just sort of, at the point where we left the hotel, where I met him and talked to him, and then we just sort of gravitated together on the way over, and then sat there at lunch. And there's not a lot you can tell. I mean, people come up to me and say, my kid wants to be a catcher. What do I tell them? I said, catch every ball. I mean, this is not, brain surgery. This is, you have these catching coaches in the knees and all the stuff in one thing. But if you can learn your style and you learn to catch every ball, because that's how, in the old days I did it, try to catch everything, nothing gets by you. And people start saying, wow, this guy's really good. Nothing gets by him. He can really catch. And then I wrote a book called Catch Every Ball, How to Handle Life's Pitches, that actually tells about this is the same in business, and it's like you and your job. If you catch all the questions that are thrown at you and you have answers, people believe in you as a broadcaster and a reporter. And whether you're a lawyer, whether you're in insurance, I mean, I've got guys that I throw stuff at all the time. And if they catch it, everything I throw at them, I know they're good at what they do. So, but it was just a wonderful opportunity to sit with him and, just as two guys, just whether we be catchers or buddies, it was just it was really, really enjoyable for me. And he's very humble. He was quiet. He asked questions, but he was very quiet, very humble, very unassuming. And that's what catchers should be. Then nobody's going to notice them. You can get a ground ball on a shortstop, bounce off his shin, and a trainer and a coach will run out there. You get an outfielder run into the wall, and they'll run 400 feet, to pick them up. And then a catcher will take one dead in the cup. And the manager looks at the trainer and says, let's go get a cup of coffee. He'll get up. We don't worry about it. So we're just out there, but he's durable. He's a switch hitter. He's got a beautiful stroke. And it shows with the numbers that he's putting up.
Yeah, catchers are like hockey players. They're just a totally different breed and what they're able to deal with. Obviously, right. Talking to Johnny Bench, the greatest of those catchers, you kind of bring up the humility, and I'm not surprised you say that with Cal. It makes perfect sense. I'm not surprised that you gravitated towards each other in that walk. In fact, it wouldn't shock me if Cal made that happen because he's a student of the game and he really does want to learn. You also kind of bring up, and maybe not saying the word, but you just described leadership from the catcher position. How important is that? How do you grow into being a leader in a baseball clubhouse?
You show up on time. You take charge. You show up on the field. You don't ask any special favors. You just guide. You're up there. Here's Cal standing at the cage. Here's Cal dressed. He's ready to go. Here's Cal on time. You don't have to be the earliest guy in the place. You got to be dedicated to what you do. You got to be the guy that walks out there to the pitcher and understands, develops a rapport with every pitcher. You got to be a psychologist because you got to understand that pitcher. And then you got to go up there with an approach when, there's 4 ways to have a great game as a catcher. You call a good game, which is the number one thing for a catcher. You throw out runners, you block home plate, which isn't anything anymore, and you get to hit. And so, the guys in the outfield and infield, they're standing about their stroke and what they're doing and how their arm and their shoulder was here and the hands didn't go back and they're doing this stuff. And we talked about, watching hitters in batting practice to see if they got any flaws, and you discover them and then you kind of know. And then all of a sudden you're up to bat. You're on deck. And that's when you get the stuff on. And so you're not thinking about anything until you get up to the plate and you walk towards the plate.
I wonder.
And so.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I just wonder if that's now an advantage for some of these guys. There's so much information that so many of the hitters are going through. I mean, so much more than you guys had access to. I wonder if it can be, in some ways, beneficial for a catcher not to have time to worry about all that stuff.
Well, that's what I was kind of leading to, is the fact that, now you're not thinking about all the stuff you do, and you walk to the plate. Your mechanics are good to begin with. You start your hands back, your right knee stays back, left knee stays back, whichever one you're hitting from, which side, and you're able to get your hands started, and your selection. And it's then, you're selecting, you're zoning, you're looking for pitches in a zone, and then when you get it, you go after it. And that's about as simple as it can be, and it's how easy it is. But, there's very few guys that can achieve that because of whether it be the visual thing, which we know is the most important thing about the eyes, about hitting, is being able to see the ball and staying in rhythm with the pitcher. And Cal he's done that in spades, I'd say.
I should have known that we would get some real baseball insight like this and how to play the game. I'm 47 years old, grew up in the Northeast, and I watched the baseball bunch every Saturday as a kid. So this, for me, this is kind of a big thing. I don't know how many people ask you about the baseball bunch anymore, but that's part of my lifelong obsession with baseball, was watching that every Saturday morning on my parents' TV in their bedroom on the floor, because, baseball was everything to me. So first of all, just a thank you for that. But it does feel as if you just kind of like teaching the game a little bit.
Well, we're going to go far. We learned from the stars. I got a hunch you love the baseball bunch. And we had the best. And why wouldn't you watch the best? Why, I used to, there were times when I was in a slump. A slump is like a soft bed. It's easy to get into, but it's hard to get out of. And so I'd watch guys that were coming to play, and I'd watch batting practice on the other team because I wanted to scout them. But at the same time, I'd watch a guy like Jeff Burroughs, who had that little cock, just a little start of the hands back. and how stable he was. And I'd watch guys that were hitting, and then I'd see guys that weren't hitting, and I could see why they weren't hitting. And, you know, it's like you go up and watch a hitter in Cincinnati when I go up there and I'm watching, and I go in the cage, just sit by the cage, just to see what they do. And they do such, I don't know what kind of things in training they do and all this stuff. And, you know, it was like, it's beyond some of the things I think about. But, hey, we're only qualified to do so many things. Our eyes, our body, and our brain. You know, in a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, it takes 0.42 seconds from it to get the pitcher's hand to cross home plate. You have 0.17 seconds to react to it. So in all that time, you've got to be able to make that decision of location, speed, break, and all that stuff, and then have the ability to do it. So the guys with the great eyes and the guys with the great technique will be able almost to slow that ball down just enough to do what Cal is doing and what guys like Will Smith is doing down at the Dodgers, and now Judge does it, and Ohtani. And, you know, there's guys that can do it. And, you know, it's like your ball club now, Rosarena is playing well. He's going to be an all-star, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I watched the draft last night, you know, well, a lot of the draft anyway, but there was the names and numbers. We have the Johnny Bench Award, which I think you may be aware of, the college catcher of the year for both men and women. And we have 4 high schools there in the Cincinnati Reds area. And Cal was just before our award. We had Adley Rutschman and we had Joey Bart. And you had a kid named Luke Stevenson that was drafted out of North Carolina. He was on our watch list. He was 35th, and I guess. And then you had Easton Carmichael, which is out of Oklahoma, did it. But we had a kid. I grew up in a town, Binger, Oklahoma, a town of 660 people, and we played Little League ball. And I had to play Fort Cobb a couple of years. Well, the baseball coach in Binger was Reggie Willits. He was also first base coach for the Yankees, but he coached the baseball team to a state championship. And then he has what is the number 1 draft choice this year by MLB, a shortstop out of Fort Cobb, Broxton. Now, you got to understand, this is a town of about 800 to 1,000 people, and Broxton's probably the size of 600 or 700 people. Because we had to combine schools to make the district and combine enough to get enough kids to come to school. So here we are, a kid from Binger, Oklahoma, and a kid from Fort Cobb, Oklahoma, winding up being drafted. And you wonder sometimes how the scouts can find us, but it's an amazing job with what they do. And I think, there's a Knipp that was drafted. I got to do that, but there was somebody. It was Grant Knipp, was drafted by the Mariners last year, and he was our 2020 Kentucky High School Baseball Award winner. So it's kind of, you know, we have West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, and these are the high school kids. So we try to honor the boys and the girls and give them some credibility and give them some respect. And it's been a great little thing that we have. Yeah. We have our awards on the 29th of this month.
Well, I will admit, I was rooting yesterday as I was watching the draft for the Mariners to take Caden Bodine, just because I thought it would have made it fun to talk to you about him today. He wins, right? He's
our winner.
Yeah, I know. And he went to the Orioles just a few picks before the Mariners took Stevenson.
How does that work? Mikey, how does that work? I mean, he's going to Adley Rutschman. Wow. I mean, you have a young all-star catcher and everything else, and you get drafted. But you know these guys have to do it, and sometimes they draft the kid. They had another kid named Ike that was drafted, but he's out of Auburn. But he was not he's kind of an all-around athlete, which I was. You know, I was a catcher, but I pitched. I was 84-3 lifetime pitching for my little league career up through high school. So I never really caught that much, but everybody thought I was a catcher.
You got those little league stats memorized. I like that. That's still pretty good.
Somebody tells me, believe me, Mike. Okay, my brain is not there anymore. Okay, I had 10 concussion, and I was just, you know.
That's pretty funny. Well, I don't know how much you get to know these guys. Any idea kind of some of what would make Luke Stevenson a pick there at 35? He sure looks like he's got a lot of power. He kind of looks a little bit like Cal with that big kind of midsection rear end. He looks like kind of a little mini Cal.
Don't be talking about rear engine catchers, all right? This is rude. All right, that's just rude because I won Watchers of America 10 years in a row, or 5 years, or whatever it was. Yeah, we are known for that because that's all that's sticking out. But no. There's they see kids that will maybe transition into a third baseman or a first baseman. They love his power. They love what they're seeing and everything else. So I just think it's a great opportunity when you get a good athlete. And that's the thing. Let's get a good athlete. And we can transition him because he can adjust to playing first base, third base, and maybe make a difference for that ball club.
Hey, couple of things real quick, and then I know we'll let you go on with your day here. And just thank you so much for spending some time talking about Cal and catching and everything else. Just awesome and a huge thrill for me. The one question about Cal this year is just the workload and how much it wears on you. I know you caught 147 games in 1970, but you were 22. Cal's 28. How does that wear on you as you get older? Is there an ideal number? Do you need to get him some days off? Obviously, he's got the DH, which you didn't have. Talk to me a little bit just about the wear and tear in the position.
Well, I caught 50 when I was 20. I caught 52 days in a row without a day off. I caught 154 of the 158 games because I missed the first 4. That's the reason that was like that was. And I can still remember I was in Minneapolis playing in a senior golf tournament, and the reporter came out and said, "Hey, we got Joe Mauer. I want to talk to him about him and and how his future is and everything else." And I said, "Well, why don't you meet me back here in 7 years?" Because what comes up, injuries, knees. These guys physically are so much better and strength-wise and everything else. They know how to develop their bodies and everything else. Impacts. We don't have the collisions at home plate like they used to. But it's all about, Joe then started getting hamstring problems, and he had to stop catching. And so there's things that created Cal's, with his durability and everything else. When they say, well, he needs a day off, I said, when you catch 52 days in a row, yeah. And, the manager, Sparky, used to say, 80% of you is better than 100% of somebody else. And so you play hurt and you play through pain and nobody will notice it. It's a thankless job in so many ways, unless you're the guy that hit the home run or threw the guy out at second or blocked home plate. So until that happens, it's wonderful to see these catchers develop and do. This is really in a long time. And Will Smith leading the league in hitting, but you got Cal and you got, you only got like 15 catchers, I think, in the Hall of Fame, and that's because they only come around once every 10 years because they don't win batting titles. They don't win home runs. They don't win the RBIs and everything else. And so we got a chance to watch a young man who's dedicated to what he's doing, dedicated to a young pitching staff that's got some potential and a lot of talent. And you got a guy that just is truly one good guy. And he doesn't ask it. He doesn't want the accolades. He just wants to, play. And that's what catchers are. They're workhorses. Sparky used to say, I said, am I going to get a day off? He said, let me put it to you this way. If we're behind, I'm going to catch you to catch up. If we're tied, I'm going to catch you to get ahead. If we're ahead, I'm going to catch you to stay ahead. I said, I'm not getting the day off, am I? He said, no, you just ride that old mule until it drops. So it's what it is. It's a thing. And it couldn't be, I couldn't enjoy it more than this opportunity to talk about Cal and what he's doing. And, you can't read the headlines because, I remember you're brought down to earth pretty quick. You go to all the other cities and they boo you because they don't like you. The only time you like you is at your home. And then when you hit in 238, they don't like you there. So you got to figure out. I hit 2 home runs, drove in 5 runs. I go out to a restaurant after the game in the bar and the guy said, hey, I say you pop up and strike out. So, whatever's happening is the day's gone. And tomorrow's a new day, and you go out there with another approach to get the best game out of your pitcher, do what you can to win a ball game, and that's the way you become a success and maybe a Hall of Famer.
Can I ask you, this is just a personal question. It has nothing to do with this interview, but I got to ask you because, as I said, I grew up in Boston. I've probably seen the Carlton Fisk home run. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times. My dad's probably mad at me right now for talking to you because you were on the 75 Reds and it, broke his.
I got you.
Tell me what it was like sitting there. I know you won the next day, so it ended up working out. But what was your view from right behind the plate of Carlton Fisk's home run in Game 6?
Well, Pat Darcy had pitched the 11th, and he pitched great. And then we went out to warm up in the 12th because that was our last pitcher. We didn't have anybody. Clay Kirby's arm was basically broke, so he couldn't pitch. So Pat went out to warm up, and he barely got it to home plate. I mean, it was one of those, and so I looked over at Sparky, and I said, as I finished up the warm ups, and I looked at Sparky, and I said, no chance. This game's over. So, it was a great thing. It brought baseball back. It was a terrific thing. And I know I think the Red Sox won that series 3-4. I can't remember.
I'm sure it feels that way, at least in terms of the highlights played. But no, for me, it was growing up in misery and hearing about all of those things. I was born a couple years later until finally 2004. So anyway, thank you. Thank you for the base. You still in touch with the Chicken?
Next year we swept the Yankees, and so everybody in New York liked it.
Appreciate that. That was important.
Yeah.
You still in touch with the Chicken? You guys stay in touch?
Teddy's one of the most wonderful men and talented men I've ever known, and I haven't seen him in a long time, but he sure made the baseball bunch what it was to this day, and for people like you that enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. And I'll just throw out one other thank you. Thank you for including the female catchers in there as well. As the father of a couple daughters, I think that's really cool, and my kids really,
cool?
My kids really react to that.
Things. We had it in Wichita, and I wanted to change it. I wanted to do it. I think that softball, I've become a huge fan of that. It started to develop, and we've had some wonderful, wonderful thing. And Jesse's going to be Jesse Atwood from Texas. Reese Atwood is going to be just another great winner and all that stuff. And yeah, they deserve it. They're war horses. They're just as tough, and they do just as good a job, and they're durable, and they have to go out there every day and fight it. So thank you for saying that.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate all your time. Thanks for everything you've done for the game of baseball, and thanks for the great thoughts on Cal. And hopefully we have a good cause to talk again, because I just enjoyed the heck out of this. So thank you so much.
Me too. Give Cal my best.
All right, well, there you go. That was Johnny Bench yesterday. God, that was fun. And appreciate all your texts. 509 saying Salk is understandably giddy talking to Bench. Cool interview. Yes, that's exactly right. 206 Johnny Bench interview. Loved it. Listened to it like 4 times. So did he call the San Diego Chicken Teddy?
Yes, he said, oh, yeah, me and Teddy. And I was just like, okay.
At first, I wondered if he thought it was something else, but he said the KGB Chicken, which is like the alternate name of the San Diego Chicken, because he started, I think, on a radio station, KGB. And so I think that's why. So he knew what I was talking about. He must have like a pet nickname for the chicken, or maybe that was something that I don't remember from my youth, but he called the chicken Teddy, like they're just old buddies. How about that?
You learn something new every day.
Dude, when you're Johnny Bench, you get to hang with the San Diego Chicken and be on a first-name basis. If I could be on a first-name basis with the Moose, then I'll finally feel like I made it in some way here in Seattle.
Got to make the Hall of Fame for that.
I just want to be, well, good luck to me on that one. I would love to just be on a first-name basis with the Moose, or yeah, I guess Blitz. Does Blitz have another first name beyond Blitz? If I had that kind of power, that kind of pull, that would then I'd really know that I've made it here in this town. Anyway, that was awesome. Johnny Bench was great. He really is a special part of the game of baseball, and to hear some of the things he said about Cal, I think are quite meaningful, right? And just show how lucky we are right now to get to be watching this deal with Cal as he just explodes, not just here in Seattle, but nationally, and everybody's starting to understand kind of who he is, what he is, how good he is, how good he is for the game of baseball. And last night, just an awesome example of that. Jim Abbott is like 2 days in a row I get to talk to really influential figures in my life, certainly in the game of baseball. But Jim Abbott is going to join me here in a little over half hour at 7:30 to talk about his documentary, the E60 story Southpaw, that aired Sunday night. I got a chance to watch it yesterday. It is A+ phenomenal. Just loved it. You can see it on ESPN+. And also then Shannon Drayer and Jason Churchill going to come in from 8 to 10, and we'll do a little Mariner Roundtable with those two. So that should be awesome as well. Stick around. It's going to be a really fun day of baseball here on Brock and Salk. Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
MLB Network insider John Morosi every week with Wyman and Bob.
Can they do enough at the trade deadline?
They don't have to necessarily be in first place by the end of July. but you need to show the front office that this team is worth adding to. But they need to show you more from guys who are not named Cal Raleigh. I'd be paying very close attention. Emerson, Young, Celestin to see who potentially could be the one that they move.
See the full conversation on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
You're listening to Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. This hour is brought to you by Fred Meyer Pharmacy, with a special message for Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. Your neighborhood Fred Meyer Pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at fredmeyer.com/pay or update. See your Fred Meyer Pharmacy for details.
America's favorite car show is back. It's the Good Guys 37th Griot's Garage Pacific Northwest Nationals, presented by Wicked Fabrication. July 25th to the 27th at the Washington State Fair Event Center. Over 2,500 of the Northwest's finest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Shop the Fender Midway. A free family fun zone, great live music, Saturday night twilight cruising, and so much more. July 25th to the 27th at the Washington State Fair Event Center in Puyallup. Details at good-guys.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us.
We get notifications every time we get a review. And I said, how do you not let it eat you up? Sometimes I feel so responsible. And his answer was, I just look at it as an opportunity. We need that feedback to learn and to do better. I'm grateful for the feedback.
Big part of sales is the relationship aspect. People want to do business with someone they can trust, who's a real person. They don't feel like you're just going after their money. And when you take the time to get to know them, get to know their needs, not be a car salesman, but be a consultant, then they feel more comfortable with you, and the experience is better on both sides.
It's not about closing deals. It's about opening relationships, helping people make the right choice. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The countdown is on.
Just 8 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
Get in the freaking auto! From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Eward and Marcus. Sorry about just Mike Eward. Not exactly Joe Cat there in the pocket.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
Thank you to everybody who texted in. Yes, I see the San Diego Chicken was played by a guy named Ted Giannoulis, so that's why he called him Ted. And then other people saying that was obvious. Well, I don't know. It's the only mascot I've ever heard of where you get to know who the person is playing it. I guess it's a cool story, though, of this dude who was a student who kind of pitched the whole idea of taking this chicken and turning it into something at Padres games. And he just wanted to go see games for free, and it ended up being the San Diego Chicken for years and years. So that's actually kind of an awesome story. I might need to go back and read a little bit more of it. Speaking of awesome stories, that's kind of where we're at today. Jim Abbott is going to join me in a half hour at 7:30 and tell his awesome story, which is part of a new E60 documentary called Southpaw that I watched. A+, remarkable, tremendous story, and just incredibly inspirational. So we will talk to Jim Abbott coming up in a half hour. The story of Cal last night is, look, I mean, from a Seattle perspective, there's, watching one of our own here become great, become noticed, become a major part of the national lore of baseball, and become one of the best and most engaging players in the game, not to mention everything that he does for the Mariners, right? And has this team currently in a playoff spot after getting them into the playoffs with that home run a few years ago. Jeff Passan wrote a tremendous piece on it yesterday at ESPN that is definitely worth your time today. Adam Jude recently wrote a good piece. Like, Shannon gets to do her weekly interview with Cal. It's the season of Cal. I mean, you're just getting a chance to not only see him blossom on the field, but also get a chance to know who he is. And I think that has helped make the story even better. He is a pretty incredible, authentic human being, and I think that resonates with so many people out there. Watching him with his family last night, it made it even better. As great as it was to see Cal win, seeing his dad throw to him, and by the way, did a really good job, especially after the first round, as Cal kind of zeroed in on where he wanted the ball. His dad did a really good job. And then seeing his brother out there, and then later seeing his mom and the rest of the Raleigh family, it was cool. Seeing the note that Cal wrote for his mom on her jersey last night, thanking her for all the sacrifices she had made for him. Again, genuine dude and really cool family. Turns out we had actually heard about some of this before. If you remember back to spring training, we sat down with Cal and almost with everybody last year. Maybe it's the youth sports element or kind of where we're at in life. But Brock and I were asking a lot of the guys we talked to about their families, about their parents, about their, experience growing up and what their parents had meant to them. And when we talked to Cal about his toughness, he went right there.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest influence is my dad. He was a coach. He's always been my coach. And the biggest thing, even to this day, is he's a guy that can kind of hold me accountable and kind of tell me the hard truths. And, he brings a great perspective, to my mind a lot of the times. And he just, he's always telling me, there's a lot worse things you could be doing. You get to play baseball for a living. You get to be out there every single day. People will kill to be doing what you do. So, when you put it into that perspective and you look at it through that lens, it's like, yeah, of course I want to be out there every day. And I want to be out there for my guys, and you want to be, counted for. And, I'd say he's a huge one for me. And, he was a guy that, never took a day off, and kind of same mentality of like show up every day, no matter how you're feeling. And you got a job to do.
That's Cal talking about his dad in spring training long before we got a chance to see him last night throwing batting practice, and I'll have some sound from his dad here as well. I wanted to first read you this from Passan's article. Before Raleigh entered fifth grade, Todd's success at Western Carolina, Todd is his dad, earned him the head coaching job at the University of Tennessee, one of the country's premier college programs. In Knoxville, Raleigh encountered the first challenges to his love of the game. He got cut from his middle school team. Kind of a Michael Jordan story, right? Jordan was high school, but all right. He got cut from his middle school team. Todd, who had recruited Mookie Betts to play for the Vols, only to see him sign with the Red Sox out of high school, got fired after 4 seasons. At Knoxville Catholic, a coach told Raleigh he was a Division III talent. As he fumed, Todd, his dad, offered him some advice. Quote, get so much better that you can't be told no. Great line, and great job from Jeff Passan kind of getting to that and getting to that part of the Cal Raleigh story. That's important. That's where the work ethic comes from. And you hear it again later in the story after he struggled at the pro level for the first time, or at the major league level, and went down to AAA, and kind of what he did to say, hey, I'm never going back. I'm never going back to that. And so that toughness, that authenticity, you can see where it comes from very much from the guy who threw him batting practice last night and afterwards was about as proud as you could be.
Well, it's just a great accomplishment. And I think that everybody, every dad that's ever had a kid, this is what they dreamed about. And as a dad, you kind of dream about it. To see it come true for your son is unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't have a son, and I don't know that any of my kids are ever going to be on a stage quite like that one. But of course, you dream of that level of success for your kid, and for him to have the ability, or the fact that he could be out there as a part of it, contribute to it one last time. All of and parents know that you're willing to make sacrifices for your kids and things you're willing to do for them that if anybody else asked you, you'd be like, what? No, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? But for your kids, you got that soft spot and you are willing to do it. And sometimes you do have to be, you can't just give in. And sometimes you got to do things that are hard for their own good so that they learn. And that's going to be a part of this Jim Abbott conversation at 7:30 of how his disability helped him kind of grow and achieve all of the things that he did in his life. And sometimes those things can be, while incredibly frustrating in the moment, very helpful long term. Yeah, maybe Cal getting cut from that middle school team did turn him into the player that he eventually became. Maybe Cal struggling the first time he got to the majors did help turn him into the player that we're watching right now. Maybe the fact that when he first showed up in the Mariners organization, he was told, yeah, we heard you weren't that good. And he had to surprise everybody and be better than everybody and work harder than everybody. It doesn't work for everyone. Like just reaching, just getting to obstacles, for some people, it hurts. It's worse. They don't do well. They need those obstacles cleared for them, and they're never going to succeed by just throwing obstacles in their path. They have a different creative way around them, maybe. But in the right person, with that mentality, when they're told no, or they're not allowed, or they don't make the team, or they fail, or whatever it is, it sparks something in them to just achieve even more. And very clearly, that's what Cal has done. Why we get this just incredible moment from him last night. And you see the leadership. I mean, we heard a little bit from his brother. Here he was, just quickly.
Greatness.
He said what he saw from his brother, greatness. He went on later to talk about leadership because Eduardo Perez had asked him, hey, it seemed like you were really showing leadership out there. Where'd you get it? And he's like, well, I got it from Cal. I mean, like, he's 13 years older than me, and he's always been my hero. And it was a really, touching moment. 13-year age difference between siblings is a lot. So it's probably not that surprising that he looks up to him that way. But, it makes perfect sense. So what do you do to be a hero? What do you do to be a leader? Johnny Bench, I thought, gave us as simple of an answer as you could get.
You show up on time. You take charge. You show up on the field. You don't ask any special favors. You just guide. You're up there. Here's Cal standing at the cage. Here's Cal dressed. He's ready to go. Here's Cal on time. You don't have to be the earliest guy in the place. You got to be dedicated to what you do. You got to be the guy that walks out there to the pitcher and understands, develops a rapport with every pitcher. You got to be a psychologist because you got to understand that pitcher. And then you got to go up there with an approach when, there's 4 ways to have a great game as a catcher. You call a good game, which is the number one thing for a catcher. You throw out runners, you block home plate, which isn't anything anymore, and you get to hit.
And you get to hit. He just kind of throws that one in at the end. Pretty amazing. Cal's getting a hit and do it quite a bit these days. Pretty awesome to see. Got a texter here saying, hey, I thought it was great for Cal. Just don't feel like he got the appreciation that some of the other guys did. Maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see a whole lot of the guys coming to congratulate him, at least as much as he went to them. That's from the 815 in Illinois. You know what I think it was, and my understanding of it is it's sort of a playful rivalry between the Dominicans and everybody else in that home run derby, and you could see the way they were coaching each other up. And Cal had his teammates there and a couple other guys. I didn't see it that way. I think that's sort of a fun, friendly rivalry, and I loved seeing Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz and Junior Caminero and Fernando Tatis Jr. and who else is there? Vlad, like that group of Dominican dudes who play together in the WBC and others. Like, dude, that's a fun little team in and of itself. Like, you can't root against that group. They're having so much fun playing the game. So, yeah, I didn't see it that way. I know what you mean, but I don't know. I just thought it was some of that playful bonding that you get in an all-star game, and those guys are tight for their own reasons. So, just cool night. Really, really fun. We'll give you a few more details on that and the end and conclusion here of the baseball draft here in just a moment. Need to know. And then Jim Abbott will join me in 20 minutes. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
The All-Star Fantastic Four. It's now the Mariners Fantastic Five.
Welcome to Randyland.
As Randy El Rosarena joins Andres, Brian, Julio, and Cal.
Holy smokes.
In the 2025 Midsummer Classic. Today at 5 from Truist Park in Atlanta. On the home of the Mariners. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service. 98 years providing logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linens, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. Visit suplinen.com.
MLB Network insider John Morosi every week with Wyman and Bob.
Can they do enough at the trade deadline?
They don't have to necessarily be in first place by the end of July. But you need to show the front office that this team is worth adding to. But they need to show you more from guys who are not named Cal Raleigh. I'd be paying very close attention. Emerson, Young, Celestin to see who potentially could be the one that they move.
See the full conversation on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Saturday night, October 25th. Experience the thrill and excitement of high-energy mixed martial arts. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this amazing professional mixed martial arts event, the World Fighting Championships, October 25th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
He's the southpaw from down under. Ryan Roland Smith with Wyman and Bob.
What was your reaction to Julio making the All-Star squad?
Julio going to the All-Star game is nothing but great. It's good for his confidence. I would say J.P. Crawford had a bigger case at shortstop than Julio did at center field to make the All-Star game. When you have a leadoff hitter with the on-base that he has, I thought J.P. had a bigger case.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland have that new car you've been looking for. With the power of choice, drive the sleek hybrid Camry leasing as low as $299 a month, the dependable Corolla, or the electric Prius leasing at just $309 a month. If you're headed to the ballpark or cruising I-5 from the north or the south, visit Toyota of Renton or Kirkland or shop online at toyotaofrenton.com and toyotaofkirkland.com. Offers valid through August 4th, 2025. Excludes taxes, license, and negotiable $200 dealer documentation fee. See dealership for details.
Get lower energy bills, cleaner air, and year-round comfort with AeroSeal duct sealing. Normally $2,500. Now just $99 for PSE customers with each replacement furnace or heat pump from Home Comfort Alliance. Learn more at homecomfortalliance.com today.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. Not a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
Seattle Children's is leading the fight against pediatric cancer with groundbreaking research in immunotherapy. It reprograms a child's own T cells to hunt down and destroy cancer. It's hope powered by science. But here's the truth. Pediatric cancer research is drastically underfunded. That's why Safeway is stepping up, and you can too. G. Scott here asking you to say yes to donating to Immunoheroes next time you're at Safeway checkout. Together, we can help fight cancer for all kidkind.
Summer is here and Washington Energy's BOGO 40% off sale is on now. Update and enhance your home with beautiful new windows and doors expertly installed by Washington Energy Services. Save today with one of our best deals of the year. Buy one energy efficient window, get the second at 40% off. And BOGO 40% off all entry, patio, and interior doors right now. From traditional to modern home updates and with over 65 years of award-winning installations, Washington Energy is the clear choice. Call today for a free estimate.
It's time for your summer road trip service at Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton. Before you hit the road, stop by and get your vehicle road trip ready with their incredible service departments, no appointment necessary. Now through July 31st, you can receive $100 off when purchasing 4 eligible tires. Whether you're in the north or the south, their expert technicians have you covered. Visit Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland today for your summer road trip service and drive into adventure with confidence. Offers valid through July 31st, 2025. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, it almost didn't go down the way it did because Cal Raleigh almost wasn't out of the first round of the home run derby yesterday. On further review, he takes out Brent Rooker by 1 inch. They're long. They hit the same number of home runs. They both had hit one 470 feet. Turns out Cal's went 0.8, so essentially 1 inch more. 1 inch farther than Brent Rooker. I mean, it's ridiculous, but whatever. I know there's some people out there calling it a conspiracy theory. Yeah, the baseball has always really tried to help promote the Mariners in whatever way possible. Totally agree. I'm sure there's a conspiracy theory going on there. So Cal advances. He takes on O'Neal Cruz in the second round and beats him, which was amazing. O'Neal Cruz hit a 513-foot home run, which is really kind of hard to fathom, and he was like perfectly suited for that event. Well, Cal beat him, and then he took on Junior Caminero in the finals.
And he goes deep to center. Gone!
How about that? He beats the third baseman from Tampa to win it all. First catcher in history to win the home run derby, first switch hitter to do it, second Mariner, joining Ken Griffey Jr. He was psyched.
It means the world, I could hit 0 home runs and I would have had just as much fun. So I just can't believe we won. It's unbelievable.
I think that's very true. Like He's out there just having a good time. Like, what a cool, unique experience to get to do something like that. And he took it seriously enough to win it, but also you could see him just enjoying being around baseball, being around the best players in the game, being in that environment. And, then he goes on to win. Pretty cool. Great job. Cal Raleigh, huge star, and showing it now to the rest of the baseball world.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, 2025 draft done. Mariners get 21 new players, 13 of them pitchers, 3 of those lefties. They get 8 position players, 3 catchers. Seems like kind of a lot. 2 shortstops and 3 outfielders as well. Interested to see a little more. Lefty Mason Peters was a 4th-round pick, and then Jackson Steensma, I think, was a 9th-rounder from Appalachian State. Both guys seem to fit some of that mold of what the Mariners tend to have success with, maybe a spin rate or a arm angle or just something that they think they can develop. So those are a couple of later round names that I'll be watching. The big story still, though, is Cade Anderson, the number 3 overall pick. Joe Doyle joining Bump and Stacy yesterday gave a little sense as to just how good he could be.
For me, I do agree with most people who say, this is probably a number 2 starter, a low number 2 starter at the next level. The comps that I've had on him are guys like John Lester. To a lesser extent, I think Cole Hamels is a potential outcome, but you'd need to see the stuff blossom a little bit more. But I've told everyone this, even if you're getting a number 3 starter at the number 3 pick in any draft, you are absolutely thrilled. The Seattle has this reputation of turning like the number 14 or 18 or 19 pick into an ace, which is such a high bar to climb. Cade Anderson, if you get a number 3 starter who can win you 13 to 15 games a year when you're really clicking, you've done a very, very good job.
Well, I would take John Lester. I would take Cole Hamels. That would be a pretty good outcome from the number 3 overall pick in a year where it's not supposed to be a great draft, especially at the very top. Yeah, that would be a tremendous success for the Mariners. And yeah, it was cool to hear from his college coach as well yesterday with Wyman and Bob. This was LSU coach Jay Johnson.
Well, in my opinion, they're getting the player that is the closest to helping a major league team that was available in this draft. And I do believe he will be a long-time major league starting pitcher, successful starting pitcher. The pitch ability is outstanding. 4 pitches for a strike. Never boxed in to, if he doesn't have one pitch, he's always got ways to get guys out.
Yeah, he's got 4 different pitches, which is just another thing. I mean, that are pretty well developed at age 21. Probably starts at high A, could be a double A by next year. If you're a double A, you're just a call away from the big leagues.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
I just enjoyed the ESPN top 10 position list. It continues today with off-ball linebackers. No top 10s for the Seahawks in this one. But Ernest Jones was in the others receiving votes category. 32 total on this list. By far the biggest list they've made of different guys that got votes. So either the position is very thin or very deep. I don't know which to make of it. Ernest was number 31 for whatever that's worth. Second to last guy mentioned. And I think a lot of this is about fit, right? And how well everyone fits in the current system. He hasn't had a lot of time in this system yet, but I really like this guy. I like the way he talks. I like what he has to say about his team.
It's gonna be special. I'm excited. I don't want to, give too much because we got to go, of course, put the work in, but if the vision lives up to what I think, it's going to be something great.
It's going to be something great. Love that. That's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. All right, I've mentioned this before, and you guys know, and maybe you heard the interview 7 years ago when we talked to Jim Abbott then. Incredibly influential in my life, inspiring me as somebody who had lost the use or quite a bit of the use of my left hand when I was 12 years old to figure out how to go out there and play again. And had an opportunity to watch him in Anaheim one day, and it was meaningful. It changed my life in a way, and very much so for the positive. He has an E60 documentary called Southpaw that I got to watch yesterday. It just came out on Sunday. It's excellent. It's really well done. It may make you cry. It certainly did for me. And I'm really excited, really excited to get to talk to Jim next. We did it 7 years ago. It was amazing then. We'll do it again. Coming up next on Brock and Salk.
He's the Southpaw from Down Under, Ryan Roland Smith with Wyman and Bob.
What was your reaction to Julio making the All-Star squad?
Julio going to the All-Star game is nothing but great. It's good for his confidence. I would say J.P. Crawford had a bigger case at shortstop than Julio did at center field to make the All-Star game. When you have a leadoff hitter with the on-base that he has, I thought J.P. had a bigger case.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
Well, it is summertime, right? We're in the thick of it. It's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow, I believe. And that means, you know, what? Weekend trips, vacation, kids out of school. You're just busy. You're running around. I know I am, like a professional driver for my kids this time of year. So maybe you think you're too busy to start that diet, workout, weight loss plan, whatever the case may be. You're not. Not with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. They are going to make it so easy for you. You're not going to feel like you're adding one more thing to your busy life. Instead, you're going to be subtracting a ton of weight. I did it. I lost 35 pounds. You just heard a promo with Ryan Rowland Smith. He lost 30 pounds. Listener we heard from just recently, 42 pounds with more to go. Yes, summer is a good time to do it. You'll have more energy. You won't feel hungry. The food is great. I mean, it's really good recipes. It's all food that you buy at the grocery store, and you're not going to feel hungry as you're losing weight. Imagine that. Dr. Coogan, he's worked with a ton of local people to deliver successful results, so be the next. Schedule that 15-minute phone call with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic by going to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C., results may vary.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji Antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Icy cool and oh so sweet. It's $305,000 in cash. Turn over a new leaf by winning your share of these big summer bucks. Every Saturday in July and August, golden opportunities abound with hourly drawings from 8 p.m. until midnight when one grand prize winner will score 10 grand with 50 grand on the last Saturday of each month. Don't forget, your Reef Rewards card can save you up to 25 cents per gallon at Lummi Bay Market next to Silver Reef. Silver Reef Casino Resort, located off I-5 exit 260.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, two-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims, like Ed, who suffered a neck injury in a highway pileup.
Had a bulged disc in my neck. It was pinching my spinal cord, so reached out to Rob. It was amazing. Their whole team were honest and kept me informed, like they were actually interested in helping me, not just a number. I'm very pleased with the outcome. I would definitely choose these guys again any time of the week.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
This is Steve Ahmed, president of Pacific Power Batteries. We know that customers like to buy from nice people, people who we generally like and trust. We don't consciously buy from a corporation, a jingle, or a logo, but it's the little things, like knowing about batteries, how they work, and why they don't work. Maybe it's just a smile from Noe, or Brandon, or Jennifer, or even Travis. At Pacific Power Batteries, we do our best to hire and train good people so you can trust them. So come on in and put us to the test.
History, it had the gold rush. Then came the oil boom, the tech boom, but right now it's the Wi-Fi boom, and Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Xfinity has everything you need to tap into the Wi-Fi boom with seriously powerful and seriously reliable connection. It's got 99.99% network reliability and incredibly low lag, so your streams are smoother than making a decision on what to stream. And did I mention that you can even connect to hundreds of devices so you, your kids, your parents, your poker group, and whoever else is at home can all experience the Wi-Fi boom with Xfinity. And the Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed, all in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract, all with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X5 Complete required for unlimited data, except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards, USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It was an incredible thing to get to watch the Jim Abbott E60 documentary Southpaw. It aired on Sunday night. I DVR'd it, watched it last night, and was completely blown away. Very moving, really well done, and just an incredible story. And Jim Abbott, the star of this documentary, kind enough to take some time with us right now. Jim, good morning. Thanks for coming back on the show. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you kidding? I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Well, it was awesome just getting to watch this and see your story. Some of it I knew, most of it I honestly did not. And I know you've said some of this before, but how did this get done? Who approached you? What led to an E60 documentary?
Well, to be honest, I've been retired for a while, and I was kind of living a quieter life. I was doing a little bit of speaking and some different things, but I've always been a huge fan of the ESPN documentary studios, whether it's 30 for 30 or E60. And they called me, Mike Farrell, the producer and director, and Jeremy Schaap, who I knew his dad and knew him, so I'm a big fan. And they thought that they could bring a different perspective to it, and they thought there was an audience and a generation that might be captured by this story. So being such a fan, I just went along with it. And I got to tell you, it's been a great ride. I have enjoyed it. Some parts of it are hard. You revisit some parts of your career that aren't always your favorite things to talk about. But at the end, it was an incredibly rewarding experience.
Yeah, a few things struck me. First of all, I'm glad I get to talk to you after seeing it. I know you did a lot of press kind of leading up to it. I'm really glad I got to see it because there are questions and things I wanted to react to and things that kind of struck me. The first thing is I don't think I've ever seen the pitching rubber out of the dirt. I had no idea what that was when you pulled it out. I didn't know it was so big.
I don't think I didn't really have a huge appreciation for it until – and it's one of the great mementos of my career. I got to the ballpark the next day after the no-hitter, and the grounds crew for the Yankees. And some people, you wouldn't know, but the head groundskeeper for the Yankees, a guy named Frankie, was he was missing part of his hand too. So we had always kind of shared a bond and talked a little bit here and there. And when I got to the ballpark the next day, they had dug that, like you said, this big hulking piece of rubber and metal out of the mound, which is no small feat. I mean, this thing is huge. And they pulled it out of that mound, which meant a lot of work. They had all the guys on the team sign it. And, it still sits in my office as probably my proudest memento from my career.
Well, as it should be. I had no idea they looked like that. I didn't know that you would look exactly the same as a baby as you do as an adult. That was cool, seeing some of the baby pictures of you. You're like, wow, that's definitely Jim Abbott, even though he's only a few months old. And then really struck by your dad saying that he wanted you to feel normal. And seeing the video of you and trying to wear the prosthesis when you were younger, I'm struck by that. Like, it's harder to feel normal while you're wearing that. Was that part of why you opted not to?
I think so. There were a few hesitations. When you do something like this, you bring a lot of people into the fold, right? And I had done that for a long time. I wrote a book, and so these aren't singular journeys. And I was very much aware of the influences in my life and the people who meant a lot to me and their desire to kind of, may or may not be wanting to get involved in something like this. So those are all part of the considerations. But, like I said, Mike and Jeremy, all the people at East 60 approached it very thoughtfully. And, it turned out to be something that opened my eyes to aspects of my career that I didn't even really realize were going on.
So I think I mentioned this to you the last time you were on, and watching you when I was 12 years old, I guess 13 years old, after I had hurt myself when I was 12, was helpful to me. And then I had coaches who worked with me to try to figure out how to catch and throw with my right hand, and it was, I had a lot of help with that along the way. You didn't. You kind of seemed like you just went out and said, I'm going to figure this out myself. Do you think that's a part of why you end up mastering it, kind of the almost the grit and resilience, and the Flint, Michigan part of it kind of enters in there as well, or some of the teasing from other kids? Does that help you end up reaching where you ended up reaching?
Mike, I read your article, and what an amazing story you have in and of yourself. And I always thought that was the more difficult journey, to be honest, was learning to do things all over again, especially at how young you were, to go through something that traumatic and then to bounce back. But you would know, having done that, you have to sort of find your own way. And there aren't, the information wasn't out there like it is now. There was no YouTube video to say, hey, how do I hold a bat with one hand, or how do I, tie my shoes? And so, yeah, I do think that trial and error, and I was surrounded by great coaches and teammates and mentors. I was like you in that way, people who refused to give up. And at the end of the day, people who believe that you can do things differently and still do them just as well. I don't tie my shoes like anybody else, but they end up tied like everybody else. And so, I do think, we think of resilience and perseverance as a oftentimes a physical manifestation. And a lot of times, as you know, it's just sticking to it creatively and believing that there's an answer.
You can tie your shoes. I can tie my shoes. I hate to do it. Are you like me? Do you buy as many slip-ons and try to see if you can sneak into your shoes every day without actually having to tie them?
Yes, only because I'm getting old enough to where it hurts to bend down. That's why I don't mind the tying part of it. It's the bending down that's the problem.
I wonder if you're like me in this way, and I noticed it, and maybe I'm wrong, but noticed it a little bit watching the documentary. I know that I often keep my hands in my pockets. I will often, and unconsciously, I don't think about it. If that's not easy, if I'm sitting at a desk or something, I often realize and look down and notice that my right hand is covering my left. I don't know whether it's sort of a safety mechanism somewhere deep in the back of my brain, or whether there's some embarrassment that I don't think about but is there. Do you find yourself holding your right hand in your left, or anything along those lines?
I do. I think that those are ingrained in us, from childhood. I fought the temptation. I don't even know that I fought it, to be honest. I was often tempted to hide my hand in my pocket, or in different ways, in different situations. And, as you get older, I'm not sure how your experience has exactly gone. And that's the thing, that's the thing about this documentary is I met so many kids along the way who had an injury, or maybe were born like me, or maybe different. Everybody's story is different. Just because we're missing a hand doesn't mean that we're going to be best friends or that they may, like the way I go about things, or, I think we all want to move past the label. Everyone's journey is a little bit different, but I have experienced the temptation to put others at ease, and that seems to be a common denominator of the kids that I've met. And sometimes that does mean, hiding or, maybe trying to seem more similar than you really are. And I'm not a psychologist. I can't put myself in those shoes, but I know what the experience is, and there does seem to be some commonality to it.
Talking to Jim Abbott here. So it's funny, as I was sort of thinking about the interview before I had watched the documentary, one of the questions I wanted to ask you about was whether you wanted to be an inspiration or whether you wanted to just be known as a baseball player. And, well, the documentary answers that very well, and that's such a big part of what the E60 story is. But I was struck by, your reaction as you were playing to some of the framing of your success. How did that evolve for you over the years?
You're right. I didn't set out to inspire anybody or motivate anybody. I loved baseball. I love sports. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. Football was the thing in winter, basketball summer, and baseball. And it was a tough town. You had to fight your way. There was no quarter given. And so I went out on a very ambitious, selfish journey. I was trying to be the best baseball player I could be. And then lo and behold, I started doing okay, and the attention started to come, kids and media and families and in ways that, I never knew was possible. And I'm not going to – I never really stopped prioritizing baseball. I didn't go to the ballpark to try and, hey, I'm going to inspire 10 families today. I was trying to get to the seventh, eighth inning and put a quality start in and be a success in the big leagues and, support my family and make the most of what was given to me. That was the responsibility. More was given to me than was ever taken away. And so, but this documentary illuminated in ways that, I'll be honest with you, Mike, I didn't always know was going on, the way people look to you. And I think that's one of the wonderful messages of the film. It's like the impact you can make without really even consciously trying, just going about your day, doing the things you love. There's always somebody, a family member, somebody who's watching and can gain something from it. And it just turns out that, playing in the major leagues, there's a lot of eyes on you, and more people were watching than I knew.
Well, I love the way you frame that. I'm pretty lucky. Yesterday, I got to talk to Johnny Bench, which was a huge thrill. Hall of Famer, greatest catcher of all time, and star of the baseball bunch, which was a big part of my youth, watching that every Saturday morning, and part of the reason I love baseball. And I asked him, we were talking about Cal Raleigh, who's just been, obviously a great story here in Seattle, and asking him about leadership in the clubhouse, and his answer, I'll play a little of it for you, kind of mimics exactly what you just said.
You show up on time. You take charge. You show up on the field. You don't ask any special favors. You just guide. You're up there. Here's Cal standing at the cage. Here's Cal dressed. He's ready to go. Here's Cal on time. You don't have to be the earliest guy in the place. You got to be dedicated to what you do. You got to be the guy that walks out there to the pitcher and understands, develops a rapport with every pitcher.
He goes on from there, but just the very basics of just show up and do your job. And for him as a superstar, as a MVP, it's one thing, but for you, I'm sure that's all you really wanted to do.
Wow, those are amazing words. And can you imagine, Johnny Bench? He's not talking about doing that in a high school hour. He's talking about doing that with the big red machine. Right. Imagine the personalities in that room and trying to be a leader. But Cal Raleigh and I don't, leadership. My favorite leader that I ever played with, and I played with a few, but Donnie Mattingly was our captain for the Yankees, and he didn't try to be a leader. He just was a leader by embodying all those things that Johnny Bench talked about. he generated respect. And I think those people who try to be leaders, it's pretty obvious. You've got to be genuine. You've got to be authentic. If you want to move people in a direction you'd like them to be moved, there has to be an authenticity to who you are and the way you go about your day.
So the story that I did not know, and it's just an amazing story, I thought, was the back and forth with Jack Curry, who wrote that you were an underachiever and you weren't having a great year in New York, and you confront him, and his response to say, hey, you say you want to be treated like everyone else. I'm trying to treat you like everyone else. How well did you remember that? Was that actually a big moment in your life, or is that sort of kind of fit nicely with the narrative of the no-hitter coming a few weeks later? Was that a big thing for you at the time?
It was a very big thing for me. It hit me hard that I did that, and I regretted it. And I don't know how. I know Jack remembered it, but I don't know that he remembered it in the depth that I did. Because I liked him. And I'd like him to. I've been texting him all week. I think we've remained friends all these years. I'm a big fan. But for me, it was a seminal moment. I had always asked to be treated like every other pitcher. I didn't want the label. I didn't want the excuse. Judged on merit. And in that moment, he wrote in the New York Times that myself and another pitcher on the team were underachievers. Not even saying underachieving, but underachievers. And I took it way too personally. I went to him. I was mad. I said, how can you say that? And I defied everything that I had been saying for all these years. I didn't want the excuse. I didn't want to be judged or forgiven for having one hand. I wanted to be someone looked to for results. And so there's other examples of that in my life. There's a few things that I did as a child, and I'm amazed how indelibly they have remained with me, and how much I deeply regret them. I wish I only wanted to be judged for who I am. I think that's all we want. We don't want labels, and we don't want to be judged for our outside appearance.
Well, I think that's great. And look, Jack, it feels almost like that story stands for, as you said, some other moments in your life, but he almost comes off as a hero a bit in the story for first of all, I love that you came to him. Most athletes don't do that, certainly not anymore. Come to the person they're upset with and have a conversation about it. So I love that you did it, and the way that it works out, he holds his ground, and in some ways, heroes may be a bit too far. That's not fair, but he plays a really important role, and I don't know. I love that. I love seeing your reaction to understanding how important you were to these kids, and maybe more importantly to the parents, which I now feel like I can relate to a lot more. Were there parents that you met over the years that sort of jumped out to you as part of your journey?
Oh, man, I think it was the parents as much as anything that I understood, was going to be formative. My parents were my heroes. They didn't have any books, or I don't think they ever studied anything. They were groping in the dark for answers. They were very young. They gave up a lot for me and my brother. And, they tried some different things. I wore a prosthesis as a kid, and they did some different, but it was basically trial and error. But they didn't, the greatest gift my parents gave me is they didn't shelter me from failure or from hurt. They encouraged me to get out there on the playground. They encouraged me to play sports if my grades were good enough. And they knew with that would come some growing pains. And the only time I ever worry, Mike, when I meet a parent, when I meet kids and families, is if they make too big a deal about it. Mm-hmm. If they let it become the defining characteristic in their relationship with their child, or with what they think their child's relationship with the world will be, that it's strictly based on, their physical appearance. And I've seen that work out in very good ways and also kind of tough ways. And so, hey, I'm no parental psychologist. I don't know, but I just know, meeting so many families, the anecdotes that I could share. The only time is if we overreact, if we make too big a deal of it,
I know exactly what you mean. And it's funny, it's not something I think about in my life very often until the Jim Abbott documentary comes on. I'm like, well, all right, this is something that I can relate to. And it sort of brings up things that I don't think about every day. And I'm sure the same is for you. You probably don't think about this all the time. But then the documentary, and they approach you, and now everyone wants to interview and talk to you specifically about it. God, I think I want to have you on one day and talk about none of this and just talk baseball with you. Forget anything about your inspirational element. Let's just have you on and talk baseball and talk about. Do you still follow the game and kind of watch the game today?
I do, not as closely as I once did, obviously. And I get as frustrated with MLB's TV packages as anybody else. I never know what I can get and what I can't get. And honestly, I don't mind if they hear that. It drives me crazy. I try to tune into a game and it's blacked out or it's this or that. And I just wish they'd figure that out. But I do watch the game. I'm a fan of the game. It's changed. The athletes who are playing it are extraordinary. I miss starting pitchers go a little bit deeper into the games. I loved watching a Mike Maddox or a Mike Mussina, carve their way through a third time through the order and more. But it's hard not to marvel, and I was in Yankee Stadium last week and just, I didn't meet him, but I walked by Aaron Judge and I just couldn't believe that a human being that big is that talented at the game, and just seems, it's a marvel to watch today's players.
Yeah, it's funny. I knew you. This jumped out to me too as I was watching it. I knew you had thrown the no-hitter. I didn't realize it had come against that Cleveland lineup until I was watching. Like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best lineups of all time. I remember them a few years later, and seeing how small Manny Ramirez looked as a rookie in his first month in the league or whatever, compared to the guy that I covered in Boston a few years later. Pretty remarkable to just see how big the guys are now and what we're watching in the sport. I'll let you go. I know you got other stuff to do, and I just really appreciate it. Last thing from me, and I'm sure you've been asked this before, probably many, many times, but as I watch the documentary, it just really jumps out. Do you think you would have reached the big leagues? Do you think you would have had the determination to get there if it weren't for some of the challenges that you had along the way?
No, I don't. My right hand, I didn't always like it. It didn't make for the easiest childhood, but it's who I am. And it gave me a drive and ambition that I know I wouldn't have had without it. And I wouldn't have gone to the places that I was so fortunate to have gone to had I been born, in a normal, quote unquote way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I often say there's nothing you could do to make me go through the pain and the awful situation again. It was horrendous and it hurt. I mean, it was physical pain, but I wouldn't trade it. There's nothing I would do. If you said, hey, you could go back and have it never have happened, I don't think my life would be as good as it is. I think I would keep everything exactly the same, and I'm going to guess you feel the same way.
Well, Mike, you can hear it in your voice, the strength that you show to overcome that. And, we all have our different journeys. We all have our different, look at these kids that, they've grown up. They came to Yankee Stadium. They came to Texas. They came to Oakland, and now they're MMA fighters and basketball players and motocross riders and cross country. They do everything. And it's, there's a certain pride in that. There's a certain pride in carving your own way.
Jim, thank you so much. This was incredible. Thank you for doing this again. The documentary is called Southpaw. You can get it at ESPN Plus if you're a subscriber. I'm sure it'll be on ESPN again as well. It is incredibly well done, and getting a chance to see some of the people over the years that you meant a lot to. Just know that I'm one of them, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for spending the time.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Good to talk to you.
All right, there you go. There's Jim Abbott. Just an incredible story. And please take some time, watch the documentary. He man, did he crushed it. They crushed it. The Holy 60 crew just did a really, really good job. So thank you for indulging me. No Blue 88 today, no Brock, and this was the timing that worked out for Jim Abbott. So sorry, no Blue 88. It's a baseball day anyway. Cal Raleigh won the home run derby yesterday. We're at the All-Star break. The Mariners are in a playoff spot. Jason Churchill's going to be in. Shannon's supposed to be here as well, though I don't see her, so I hope she's here sooner rather than later. We got a little roundtable conversation to come. Don't go anywhere. Lots of baseball talk coming up on Brock and Salk.
The All-Star Fantastic Four. It's now the Mariners Fantastic Five.
Welcome to Randyland.
As Randy El Rosarena joins Andres, Brian, Julio, and Cal.
Holy smokes.
In the 2025 Midsummer Classic. Today at 5 from Truist Park in Atlanta. On the home of the Mariners. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me.
Our strategy with pricing is not to be the highest price and not to be the lowest price, but to be a really good price and to provide a really good experience to the customer.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of candies and fruits and stuff. It was just really sweet. It felt like we were truly helping.
Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or a service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
You hear it from one person, and then another, and another. You come to realize it's not a script, it's a belief. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. Summer is the perfect time for a new roof. Take advantage of our easy financing, summer specials, and the best warranty in the business. Have a great summer. See you next hockey season. Trust Techline.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief, easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Dan. Dan, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
I had the same insurance company for 30 years and just accepted all the premium increases as inflation or feeling tethered to them because I have earthquake coverage and was uncertain about being able to get that anywhere else. But when I talked to Ken at First Mark, wow, he came back with bigger umbrella policy, better earthquake coverage, which I didn't think was possible. And when he came down with the premium number, it was a no-brainer. We were saving over $2,500 a year. Don't wait, because it's annoying to think of what I could have done with that money over the last 10 years had I done something sooner.
Well, Dan did it. My family did it. You got to do it, and it's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge today. See how much money they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be the next First Mark Challenge victory that I get to talk to as well. Simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get the freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
We're going to accuse you of management.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
Hello! All right, thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Appreciate the nice feedback on the Jim Abbott interview, day after Johnny Bench. Pretty cool. Two huge influences in my baseball life back to back. And hearing Johnny Bench sing the Baseball Bunch theme and then getting another chance to talk to Jim Abbott about his story and knowing that he, read mine is just really, really cool. So thank you for indulging me a little bit. And hopefully the interviews were fun for you guys as well. I know we're going to have a lot of baseball fun here for the next 2 hours. A roundtable. Shannon Drayer, our Mariners insider. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning.
Back from parts unknown in New York and Detroit and the heat and the rain. And
do you miss the humidity?
Yes.
No, you do not.
I do a little bit. Yeah, I do.
How do you miss humidity?
I kind of like it in the summer. Like, I wouldn't want it every day, and I wouldn't want to live in New Orleans or D.C. I've lived in D.C. That was rough. But, like, the Northeast humidity, like, yeah,
this
like
was not Northeast humidity.
All right, sometimes it gets to be too much. I'm not arguing. But, like, do I miss it? Yeah, I miss the, like, evening thunderstorms and kind of everything that comes with the humidity. Yeah. I do miss it a little bit.
Mike's a little weirder than I thought he was.
I know. That other voice you hear is Jason Churchill, Prospect Insider, also in today for a couple hours. Amazing considering how recently we had the draft, which is like your 2 days. So thanks for coming in today. We'll ask you some draft questions here in a few minutes. Unsurprisingly, I'm going to start with Cal, because he's the story of this Mariners season. I said before the year he wasn't one of the 10 most intriguing players on the team. As it turns out, I was wrong. He's the most intriguing player in baseball this year, not just on the Mariners, and he showed it again last night. It shouldn't have been surprising in any way that he won the home run derby, and yet as I was watching it, I found myself kind of chuckling like, of course he's going to win the home run derby now.
It's pretty remarkable because it's kind of like with this team where you look at, and you nailed it, by the way. Is there a bell that we ring or something?
Please do, yes. Okay. That never happens on this show, so yes. Ring whatever bell you have to.
I mean, that was the worst series ever in New York. Those were crushing losses, especially on the last day. And you put it into perspective. Things happen there. You did not get too carried away with that. And I kind of, with the same thing with Cal, with everything that has been put on him, that he puts on himself, carrying this team for times this season, being the catcher, having the workload that he has. And if you've noticed, he's slowed down a little bit in the last 2 weeks. And he's still contributing, and some of his slowdown is just he's not getting anything to hit. Mm-hmm. But we're around him every day. I'm like, yep, he's starting to get a little tired. He's starting to get a little tired. This might be a little too much. Okay, he's going to go. I'm not sure how much he's going to enjoy. He enjoyed the heck out of it, you could tell. And then, he went ahead and won it, which you should not forget things like he's going to go in there and be the most prepared person for that. You know, he's going. I joked when they put out the video, when Daniel Kramer put out the video of Cal, 8-year-old Cal, and I'm like, he had a plan. I mean, he always has a plan, and so for him to win it and to enjoy it, of course he was. He wasn't going to go there and do that unless he could do it right.
Jason, you spend, Prospect Insider is still a moniker, right? And so it comes with paying attention to prospects. Can you go back and kind of remember what your thoughts were on Cal when he was drafted, as he was developed through the organization? Always a good player, hit a lot of home runs, but I don't think anybody saw this coming.
And he was a third-round pick for a reason. And he probably would have been a 5th or a 6th or a 10th round pick if there were even more doubts about him sticking at catcher. That was a question. Coming out of the draft, it's like, well, we think we can work him into, and now he's maybe the best defensive catcher in Major League Baseball.
What was the fear? Too big?
There's always this, he's 20, 21 years old. Is he going to, quote-unquote, outgrow the position?
Mm-hmm.
What's his conditioning going to be like in 5 years? Because you always have to look 2 to 5 years ahead at least. And with Cal, there were so many questions about the defense. There were questions about the hitting on both sides of the plate. It was like, he's probably just going to be a lefty. Or if he's a righty, is he just going to be like this 250, 10-homer guy? Because the right-handed swing was so different then. There were tons of questions on this guy. And that's why when you go through the draft, which we actually just had, and it's crazy to compare players, and they get Luke Stevenson, and people are asking about, there's so many questions about this, and this. It's like, well, Cal Raleigh was a third-round pick, and there were more questions about him, and look what's happened.
Yeah, it is remarkable, and Passan's article yesterday does a great job of going through some of how the setbacks, and maybe it fits with the Jim Abbott interview from a few minutes ago, how setbacks and the development of grit can really, on the right person, motivate them to get to where they're going. Shannon, you're around them essentially all day, every day, or pretty darn close to it. I'm sure it feels that way for you at times. Is there one moment in this season that has stood out for you among all the great Cal moments? And Jason, for you, is at home, is there one Cal moment of this year that stands out above any other?
I don't think so. I think it's the entirety of it, and I think that we just keep having revelations about why this is happening. And he was what Jason said, what he was when he was drafted, but he has continued to develop, and he has continued, be it his fielding it, be it his conditioning it, be it his hitting finally, which I think finally he's had a little bit more time to work on that as he's learned what he believes to be the most important aspect of everything, and that is the defense. I think maybe it shouldn't be as much of a surprise because that progression has always been there. He's been doubted, and he's done the work, and he's made the steady progression. He has the background, of course. And for me, just watching it continue and not stop, I would say, yes, he had the great April, and you're like, okay, this is great, and it's going to, regression, it's going to slow down, and he's a catcher. He's going to get tired. He got off to a slow start in May. Well, there's no way he's going to hit 10 home runs again. And then we did the same thing in June.
It's really,
it's so every step for me, I think, has just been.
What jumps out to me as you're talking is, all of the doubters and proving all the doubters wrong over the years. And both of you guys tell stories there about Cal kind of not being projected and taking it personally and use. He doesn't come across that way at all. There are a lot of guys, and maybe it's a football thing more than anything else, where you hear they're like, nobody believed in me, nobody thought this. Cal doesn't have any of that, at least outwardly at all.
I don't think that's him, though.
Yeah.
I don't. I think he's focused on his work and what he wants to do and his goals and what his responsibilities are.
And player development is a hell of a drug. I'm telling you. In Major League Baseball, you are in control of your own development. If you want to be, of your own development, probably more than any other sport. It's amazing how that's turned the last 15, 20, 25 years.
Because of what? Personal hitting coaches and
access to information.
Right.
Absolutely. Technology in general. Absolutely. And we think about
mental
that more.
Skills coaching even.
Yeah, we think about that more with pitchers, but it's the same thing with hitters. Like at some point, hitting is going to start catching up a little bit to pitching and the way that they develop and how different that is from 20 years ago. But as soon as a player realizes, hey, what I do matters the most, like sometimes you see guys just absolutely take off, and obviously Cal Raleigh is a great example of that.
And hilarious too, and in some ways ironic that one of the things Cal wants is to know less, right? I mean, like that was one of the whole ideas this year was simplify and maybe not quite as much information, have it filtered down a little bit more in the batter's box, not as a catcher, but in the batter's box. What a fascinating game this is. Why I love baseball. There's just so many ups and downs and ins and outs and back and forths that you can have on it.
You know, I think one of the coolest questions I have and things that I think about, and Shannon can speak to this a lot more than I can, is how much of this is Cal? We're never going to know the exact. How much of this is just Cal's progression, right? Which is probably most of it, and it's probably mostly Cal. But how much of this is, the new hitting coaches and the new kind of approach to the information part of it? And how much is that affecting other players and how it's affecting other, because it's not affecting everybody the same, but it's clearly had some level of impact on Cal and taking that next step forward.
Yeah, I think it's so tough with hitting coaches because everybody receives them in different ways. That's the toughest job. It might be the toughest job in sports is being a hitting coach.
You're the first one to get fired, too.
You're gonna.
Well, for half of them, it's the easiest. All they do is sit in the cage and flip balls to people. It's pretty easy.
I do think that it is partly that, and I also do believe that in the past, an article pointed this out a little bit more. He seeks it out wherever it is. Is that talking to another catcher? I'm going to go talk to the best catcher in baseball about pitch framing, and I'm going to take his Gold Glove. Is it talking to a veteran like Justin Turner and getting all of the knowledge that he has? And by the way, I'm going to keep you on speed dial. I think he uses his resources incredibly well.
I mentioned it to Johnny Bench yesterday. He said, well, Cal and I found each other at the Gold Glove Awards. No, I don't think so. I don't think you just act. I think Cal sought you out and found himself next to you so that he could ask Johnny Bench questions about catching.
That's how I talk about meeting people all the time.
Right? No, just randomly ended up next to Johnny Bench. Who knows? All right, we got a lot more to come. These two are both going to be here until 10 o'clock this morning. Shannon Drayer, Jason Churchill. We'll give you guys everything you need to know with some reaction to last night, some draft reaction from Jason as well, and then we'll kind of address the big picture Mariner stuff starting at 8:30, and then I got a fun game for you guys at 9:30 as well. Yeah, I wouldn't bring you in without playing a game. So all of that to come. If you love baseball, today's going to be a heck of a day for you. It's Brock and Salk, Sales Sports on 710, salesports.com.
The All-Star Fantastic Four. It's now the Mariners Fantastic Five.
Welcome to Randyland.
As Randy Arozarena joins Andres, Brian, Julio, and Cal.
Holy smokes.
In the 2025 Midsummer Classic. Today at 5 from Truist Park in Atlanta. On the home of the Mariners. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Roof now, pay later. No payments until 2027. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Since 1968, we've helped homeowners just like you get beautiful, durable roofs without breaking the bank. Book today and lock in summer pricing before it's too late. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland have that new car you've been looking for. With the power of choice, drive the sleek hybrid Camry leasing as low as $299 a month, the dependable Corolla, or the electric Prius leasing at just $309 a month. If you're headed to the ballpark or cruising I-5 from the north or the south, visit Toyota of Renton or Kirkland or shop online at toyotaofrenton.com and toyotaofkirkland.com. Offers valid through August 4th, 2025. Excludes taxes, license, and negotiable $200 dealer documentation fee. See dealership for details.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims, like Ann, who broke her leg in a trip and fall accident.
I had broken my femur and I was in horrific pain. We chose Iddens because they had a good reputation. I wasn't just a name, I was a person, and that makes a big difference. I'm just grateful that we had the settlement for my care. I'm very pleased.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on OpenSignal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Crank up the hits and bring on the boom. It's 80s fireworks night at T-Mobile Park. Get ready for a totally tubular show this Friday, presented by T-Mobile. The Mariners face off against the division rival Astros at 7:10. And after the game, the sky will light up to the sound of your favorite 80s jams. Big hits on the field and more big hits after dark.
Grand slam! Julio takes it deep and clears it off.
Mariners baseball, fireworks, and hair metal? Sounds like a rad night. Lock in your seats now at Mariners.com and check out what else is on deck at the ballpark this summer, including 3 straight value games against the Brewers, July 21st through 23rd. And the next Mariners fireworks show on August 1st.
Goodbye, baseball. He does it again. Home runs in 3 consecutive games. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper.
Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Want to cut your home energy bills, breathe cleaner air, and improve comfort? The answer, AeroSeal from Home Comfort Alliance. This advanced process seals leaks in your ductwork, improving efficiency and air quality. Normally $2,500. Right now, for PSC customers, get AeroSeal for as little as $99 when they install a furnace or heat pump. Plus, save up to 25% on remaining 2024 heat pumps and air conditioners from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com today.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
1 inch. Cal got out of the first round yesterday by 1 inch, 470 feet on his longest home run. It was the same for Brent Rooker, but Cal had an extra inch on there. That's the extra dumper factor, man, and ends up allowing him to advance to the second round where he took on O'Neal Cruz, and, he beat him.
And he goes deep to center. Gone!
I think that one was actually from the finals, but it doesn't matter. He beat O'Neal Cruz, who was a physical freak. He beat Junior Caminero, who was a really good young player with a beautiful swing, and becomes the first catcher to win it all. He becomes the first switch hitter to win the Derby as well, and the second Mariner, joining only Ken Griffey Jr., who spoke to him afterwards.
He was just super proud of me. Obviously, really cool to see him there the whole time, and trying to look like him with a backwards hat, so hopefully I made him proud.
It's hard to imagine a more normal dude winning the home run derby than Cal Raleigh. And I was saying earlier, Cal's authenticity and humility comes out constantly. It's really obvious. But it doesn't contrast in any way with some of the fun cockiness that you saw from Caminero and O'Neal Cruz and that group of Dominican dudes who were just having a blast together, it felt like it complemented it more than it stood in contrast to it, even though they're two completely different ways of dealing with the game of baseball.
Which is the beauty of the game of baseball right there. And I love seeing his teammates down there with him and every break that they took. And you saw the interaction. You know, Randy was telling him what he thought he needed to do, and he was enjoying every moment. Munoz looking worried, what can I do to help here? And Brian Wu just taking it all in. It was so fun to see that entire group there.
It was. And it was interesting. Cal, in some ways, built for this, right? Heard, I think it was Eduardo Perez yesterday saying, hey, it's the breathing that's the hardest in the first round, but once you get through that, it's the legs. Well, Cal's built for that. He certainly has the glutes and the legs.
The power source.
The power source necessary. And he got better as it went along and ends up winning the home run derby.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, 2025 draft in the books. Mariners selected 21 players overall. 13 of them were pitchers, 3 lefties, 8 position players, 3 catchers, interestingly, pair of shortstops, and 3 outfielders as well. Obviously, it starts at the top with Cade Anderson, Jason Churchill. You study this as much as anybody. How lucky did the Mariners get in getting Cade Anderson?
Yeah, it's not often you don't draft number 1 and you get your guy. And they obviously clearly, I mean, this is the worst kept secret in the draft was Seattle wanted Cade Anderson, and him falling there was really surprising. I thought he was going 1. Then we all thought, okay, I guess he's going 2, and then he didn't. They had him doing backflips in that draft.
Do you have any concern that he didn't go 1 or 2, that those teams didn't see something there?
No, I think what we're getting is teams looking at the draft a little bit differently. The Nationals clearly do not think our best chance to win is going to be in the next couple of years. So we're going to take this high upside kid and not worry about getting someone into the big leagues quickly.
Well, they're going to get this kid up there, I would think, very quickly. It was cool hearing Joe Doyle talk about him and just how ready he is for the big leagues.
It's a coin toss for me. I mean, it's really close between him and Colt Emerson. I think they're both probably at about the same level. I think Colt Emerson is right on the verge of being able to make that jump to Double-A, possibly by the end of the season. And I think Cade Anderson could strike out and perform at a high level at the high A level right away, and he could pitch in Double-A at the start of 2026 as well. So
if he's at Double-A next year, he's a phone call away. I mean, and that's not a surprise for a college pitcher that we could conceivably see him in the big leagues mid-next season.
It's a really large portion of his value is that he's pretty much ready right now. If you needed him to go tomorrow, he could probably go 5 or 6 innings and give you a chance to win a game. I mean, it's the stuff, too. We see stuff, curveball, slider, changeup. The fastball's up to 95, 96. You're not like, well, that's not special. Well, it kind of is from a lefty who hides the ball and can nail the top rail like he does. He's the number 1 prospect in the system for me, and I adore Colt Emerson. But the Mariners did really well at 3.
Give me one other name you liked from the draft that the Mariners took.
Nick Becker, the shortstop. In this kind of a draft, my preference would be increase the risk. What are you actually missing out on in a draft like this if you just go, let's just increase the risk here a little bit. Let's increase. And they didn't do that at 3. They didn't do it at 35, but they absolutely did that at 57. 6'4", 190-pound shortstop, 60 runner. He's going to develop some power. Take a shot. Try to get your Gunnar Henderson.
It's funny. I maybe have Mariner bias now. I'm most excited about the guys with bad numbers as pitchers in the college. I was like, oh, this Mason Peters dude or Jackson Steensma or the dude from Miami, they weren't good in college. They're going to be great.
Yeah, Griffin Hughes is really interesting.
Thank you for saying his name. I've been very curious on how to pronounce that.
Remember when Brian Wu was selected? People were like, we don't really know a lot about him. He didn't pitch all that much at Cal Poly.
Numbers.
Right, didn't have good numbers. He was a two-way guy early. We just haven't seen him pitch. Same characteristics on his report. You go with Hughes. Really electric mover, good athlete.
Hughes, Mason Peters, Jackson Steensma, those are the names I'm going to be watching because none of them were that great in college.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
ESPN continuing to go through their top 10 positional list. Off-ball linebackers this morning. No top 10s for the Seahawks, but Ernest Jones was in the others receiving votes category. So he was basically number 31 on that list. It was the biggest list they've had by far, which probably speaks to some of the similarities of off-ball linebackers, rather, and shows why they don't get paid as much because the difference between number 10 and number 30 probably isn't that significant. It's just a matter of which one fits your system best. I just like this guy. I like the way he talks. I like the way he leads. He was asked about this defense.
I like us. Anybody. That's how I leave it.
I like the confidence, and they're going to need some of that swag on the team this year. That is everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. Jason Churchill, Shannon. So a baseball roundtable here for the rest of the show. We got an hour and a half left with these guys, and let's just go big picture, right? Who are these Mariners? We're halfway more through the season. I still can't answer that question.
I came here to ask you that.
Well,
so got to be honest with you.
We can all ask each other and then do the Spider-Man thing where we point at each other. It's next on Brock and Salk.
He called it 20 years ago.
I'm the home run derby champ.
And as he always does, the Big Dumper delivered.
The Big Dumper is your home run derby champion.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh. We can't wait for the second half of the Season of Cal on Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
What'd you say? I'm the man. I'm the man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a home run derby champ, that's for sure. Hey, Mike Salk here, and that comes, of course, in summer. So does some of that summer heat. And if it is heating up in your house, maybe because you don't have enough insulation. That's why you get Crawl Pros to come out and take a look at your crawl space and attic and figure out what's going on in there and whether or not you need more of it. That's why your house can get super cold in the winter, and it's also why it gets super, super hot in the summer. So here's good news. If Crawl Pros comes out and you call them, and they come out and they take a look and they realize that, yeah, you got an issue with your insulation, you might be eligible for a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSC customer and your home was built before 1990, you could qualify to get a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to get that insulation properly done. Yep, 95% of the cost. So don't wait. Call Crawl Pros and learn what's going on behind that crawl space or attic hatch for free and find out what energy rebates you might be eligible for. If you're worried about damage, mold, insulation, critters, issues, anything related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how you get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Saturday night, October 25th. Experience the thrill and excitement of high-energy mixed martial arts. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this amazing professional mixed martial arts event, the World Fighting Championships, October 25th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family.
when something's not right with them, it's not right with us.
We get notifications every time we get a review. And I said, how do you not let it eat you up? Sometimes I feel so responsible. And his answer was, I just look at it as an opportunity. We need that feedback to learn and to do better. I'm grateful for the feedback.
Big part of sales is the relationship aspect. People want to do business with someone they can trust, who's a real person. They don't feel like you're just going after their money. And when you take the time to get to know them, get to know their needs, not be a car salesman, but be a consultant, then they feel more comfortable with you, and the experience is better on both sides.
It's not about closing deals. It's about opening relationships, helping people make the right choice. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's not really any pain now at all. I have no limitations in what I want to do.
Wow, so you're able to do anything you want to do?
I recently played golf at Cycle House down in Pebble Beach, walked 18 holes, which I hadn't been able to do for a number of years, and then went for about a 2-mile walk with my friend.
I take it you'd recommend stem cell therapy to others then?
Absolutely. Had I known then what I know now, I would have done this several years ago and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering and agony and limitation to activity.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, it's a baseball roundtable for the rest of the show today, Brock and Salk, but with Shannon Drayer and Jason Churchill. No Brock. He'll be back tomorrow from his big fishing trip. So Brock will be in tomorrow. Lyle will come back later in the week, I think on Thursday. Mora will come back on Friday. So each day we'll just start adding another person back into this All-Star game, of course, tonight. And the Mariners are going to be well represented. I mean, 4 players in the All-Star game plus Julio, who gave up his spot for Randy. Team with 5 players in the All-Star game. That's a good team, right? I mean, like, if you've got 5 of your 26 guys, 20% of your team's an All-Star?
And they're not all pitchers.
No, only a couple of them are pitchers. So, like,
that's part of the problem, Jason.
So the Mariners are good, right? You feel confident in saying that?
No.
Oh.
No, absolutely
Why not?
No, they're so far from actually being good. But you know what? You know what's going around in Major League Baseball right now is there's a lot of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Mediocrity in baseball is what they want. They want a bunch of teams that are just right there. So, and the problem with that is that makes the trade deadline tough, right? Everybody thinks they're in it. How many teams are actually just automatic? You look at those numbers and you're like, okay, they're selling. Maybe 6 teams right now. But with Seattle, they obviously should be better. If they were getting the performance, the foundation of this baseball team is that rotation. They have not performed up to par, and for a reason. Bryce Miller's obviously hurt. Logan Gilbert went through his thing. But there have been some inconsistencies there. Gilbert, since he's been back, Kirby a little bit up and down. Castillo, this year hasn't been clean and sharp, and there's a little bit of decline going on there, at least statistically. And obviously that 5th spot with Miller out, they're not getting the performance they've been getting in the past. To me, that's the biggest difference, because the offense is a little better. It certainly is a little better, and it's not just Cal Raleigh. Julio better the first 3-4 months of the season than he was a year ago. Randy Rosarina, obviously, wasn't even on a team last year until August. To me, it's this balance of mediocrity, rotation, lineup, bullpen, and it's probably all 3 of those spots they have to consider making some moves, at the deadline.
It's funny you say mediocrity, and I get it. I'm not sure it's the wrong word. I also watch them, though, and they hardly ever look mediocre. It's, to me, more the inconsistency that when played out over 162, or in this case 90-something, makes it kind of get to mediocrity, because at times all 3, the bullpen, the rotation, and the lineup, look much, much better than mediocre. They look great. And there are other times where they look like a train wreck. It's weird. Even though they're kind of end up on, all right, I'll use the word mediocre, they almost never feel mediocre at the time.
The rotation for me kind of has. And there are all sorts of reasons for that. Obviously, you had the injuries that you had, and just always go back to the offseason and thank goodness they did not trade Luis Castillo. But we haven't seen, Brian Wu has done great things, but I would still like to see him get deeper in games. And I was kind of talking about this on Bump and Stacy yesterday, is they don't have a win guy this year where you're driving to the ballpark and you're the player and hey, we're going to win tonight. We've got Felix Hernandez on the hill right now. We've got George Kirby just absolutely on fire. Logan Gilbert was supposed to be that guy. And I think that this rotation needs that. And I do think it all kind of flows from one to the other. And I think that that's one of the things that we have seen, and not having it be a complete unit. But for me, I think that is, I think I've looked at it, and I have never really, I did not have on the bingo card that I would be concerned about Logan Gilbert this year. And we just haven't seen it. And there has been the time there, and there have been extenuating circumstances. Rain delay 2 times out ago, extreme heat the time before or the time afterwards. We're seeing different things that are happening, but you have not had that sense where you are passing the baton with them at any point. You've been, okay, I hope that, early on Bryce Miller is going to be okay and good to go. He hasn't been. I hope that the number 5 that they have there, you're going to get the good number 5 and not the number 5 that might give up 6 runs. And, well, why wouldn't he? He's young and he's a number 5. I hope that you're getting vintage Luis Castillo and not the Castillo that you get every 5 starts. And I'm being hard on them, but that's the bar that they've set right now. And Logan Gilbert, you hope that you are getting back. Let's remember, going into the season, he was a top, 3, 4, 5 Cy Young candidate, and that's an important part of this.
What are the chances that changes, whether it's for Logan or for the rotation in general? What are the chances or outlook on what it could be here down for the next 2.5 months leading up to the end of the season?
I think if they're healthy, the potential is absolutely there. I think that I feel a lot better about George coming off of the IL, and he's figuring some things out along the way. He is definitely different out there. The slider usage, a little bit more willingness to go a little bit out of the strike zone, to expand a little bit and pitch, rather than I'm just going to hit my target every time, and to kind of, do some things that he is capable of doing that have been a challenge for him, and I think you see a difference when you see that. I don't know what we're going to see from the number 5 spot. I don't know what we're going to see when Bryce Miller comes back. And Logan Gilbert, again, is a big question mark. And it's so confounding because the stuff, his swing and miss numbers are off the charts right now.
So what's going on there? Why is Logan, look, he's coming back from injury, fine. But why haven't we seen Logan Gilbert, with capital letters?
I think the big thing is command. Like, the efficiency is pretty much gone. I think we're back to, from that standpoint, we're back to Logan Gilbert 2021, and he just wasn't quite, Have you noticed how different his delivery is from when he first came up? There's a lot more moving parts, the arm swings, like his entire body is involved. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying changes like that, can cause a lot of, issues, unintended issues. It's different. I don't necessarily like it. When you see a guy go out there and make changes and you go in the opposite direction, and I'm not throwing the injury into this, that's just something that can happen to arms, but he's been different. It's nailing the spots, the fastball command, the throwing consistent strikes. Is he throwing an off-speed pitch for a strike these days? Not really. Like, it's all about, let me get this guy to chase, let me get this guy to chase. So what are the hitters going to do, obviously, in that situation?
Smart people.
If I see spin, if I don't see a fastball, I'm going to let it go. And he's, the 4 2/3 innings, the 5 innings. That's the big thing with me. And the injury is scary. That's a scary situation for me, looking at Logan Gilbert moving forward. The Bryce Miller situation, I have no idea how that's going to work out, but the bet, whatever bet you make if you're the Mariners at the trade deadline, probably has to start with a long conversation about that rotation. They are built to be the rotation they'd been the last 4 years, and they're not. And I don't think they're going to get back there. I don't think we're going to snap our fingers and Logan's going to be Logan and Castillo's going to get back Bryce Miller's going to.
Would you be looking for starting pitching at the
Yes, I would absolutely be out there looking for that. I don't want to throw Emerson Hancock, Logan Evans into that mix. I don't have anybody else that should be taking those starts. I'm trying to win here, and I have a really good opportunity to do that. And that doesn't necessarily mean they can't go out and add a hitter or two. It doesn't mean they can't go out and add a reliever because they need all of those things. But I would start with the rotation because I need to know what's going to take to go fill that 5 spot with a pretty good starter and get me back to where I thought I was going to be and where I'd been the last 3 or 4 years with that rotation. They're built to win that way.
Hard to imagine that that's kind of where we're at, but hearing you guys say that in unison, obviously, I'm sure is going to, make some people's ears perk up of like, hey, that hadn't really been much of a conversation. John Morosi had brought something like that up a while ago. And then, look, you watch them take on Pittsburgh and, not give up a run in 3 games. I know that lineup is terrible, but I know it's a bad lineup.
I threw 3 scoreless in that series, Mike. I'm just saying.
I watched it, and then we watched them in New York, and it's like, yeah, that's not the same thing. Like trying to go to New York and do it. Is that one of the problems I've had with this team this year is trying not to overreact to whatever's just happened because, as I said, the swings have been so wild from one direction to the other. And when they go 5-2 at home, want to say this is a World Series team, and when they get swept in New York, I don't want to say they're awful, and then when they it's just too back and forth. But I'm hearing you guys say the pitching thing is a longer term thing, not just what we saw in Detroit and New York.
Longer term in terms of the season, not outside of the season. Yes, and I do think, yes, there is a chance, and one of the things with Logan very well could be he's the most routine-oriented pitcher there is. It might take him longer to get back. He may have completely lost everything that he did in the offseason, being out the time that he was. And so I hold out hope that we are going to see that because the stuff is there. And the command, it's funny that you talk about, the delivery being different, and that's what is encouraged within this pitching staff is they're not asking you to repeat the delivery every time. They're asking you to be able to know that Logan always follows that. He's got his own routine, and it's very structured and we've heard about, the bag of tricks and everything else. And go ahead and throw in there that, longest extension. I mean, he's it's going to be harder to get that back.
A lot of moving parts.
Yes. I was going to say giraffe on roller skates.
Yeah,
but
that's nice.
Yes. So, but so I'm not totally convinced that it's not going to show up. I'm just saying that I'm approaching kind of the point where, wow, I never thought that I might be worried about that. And that's assuming that he is healthy, which you never know with any pitcher.
Shannon, Drayer, Jason Churchill here talking baseball. To the other side of it, back to the offense. It's been better. I mean, there's no doubt that the offense has been better than the last couple of years. Why? Why is it?
I think for me, it starts with the new player.
Right.
Randy Rosemary starts with, and he's performed, and he's been relatively consistent considering it's Major League Baseball we're talking about.
He's been Cal the last 2 weeks.
He's been better than Cal the last 2 weeks. Yes. It's crazy. And the on-base percentage and everything else. So, is it just that? Is it
JP
approach?
back? JP being back and somebody at the top of the lineup getting on base a lot. That's obviously huge. That's not something they had a year ago. They did in 2023. He was great in 23. This is a more sustainable JP Crawford, by the way. Hitting the 20 homers, not really. This is who he is. Get on base, make a lot of contact, hit line drives, the occasional homer. That's sustainable at the top of the lineup. You basically have 2 new players right there, 2 new hitters that you didn't have a year ago. That's the biggest difference. And to be honest with you, I don't think anything else matters. At the end of the day, Cal's being Cal. Nobody can predict that. You can't go into the season saying, maybe we're going to get this historic season from Cal Raleigh. It's going to be amazing. Or this is the year Julio goes off and is an MVP. You can't plan for those things. But you can plan for things like JP coming back and Randy being in the lineup every day.
The other thing that we are seeing right now is if you look at it, and I know it's one number and it's not everything, but it's a little bit of an indicator. Over the last 30 days, they've got the best WRC plus in the American League, which kind of makes you wonder, well, let's score some more runs then and not be biting our fingernails as much as we are. But one of the things that we have seen, and I was curious if we would see
dropping 35 in Detroit probably helps that number a little bit too.
Probably. That was so fun. We've seen, and we saw this last year when Dan Wilson took over, we have seen, and it's taken a while to get there, but probably a fair amount of time with the players involved. We've seen the bench players get put back on the bench in the last month. You are not seeing as many, and it helps that Dom Canzone comes up and shows that this is, I think, the Dom Canzone hitter they thought they were getting from Arizona and not playing with a bad shoulder this year. So you're seeing far less Dylan Moore out there. You're seeing far less Dan going and, oh my gosh, lefty, we got to go with the righty hitter later. Not even later in the game, mid-game. He's kind of got his lineup right now, and the bench players are getting far fewer.
Yeah, you got Luke Raley instead of Rowdy Tellez, which has been nice. Yeah, I think I agree with all of those things. That's a really nice way of looking. For the most part, the players have just been, you got better players, and the ones who are out there are playing, kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is helpful. I gotta say, this has been a season of surprises. There's no doubt. I mean, Cal is the biggest surprise. What he's done, nobody could have seen it coming, I don't think. Dom Canzone might be number 2 for me. I was done. I thought Dom Canzone was just not good.
It's
and
a
I watched
remarkable
him here for the last
transformation.
month. He's been really good.
Yeah, and it's not just small sample luck. It's not just.
It's not?
No, and it's not just natural,
Why do you say that? I mean,
organic.
it's been a month. Why do you say it's not small sample?
When a player just all of a sudden performs for a month, I never buy it unless he's doing something different.
Okay.
If he's doing the same old thing that he's always done and he just happens to run into this month, Jared Kelnick, right? I'm not buying it. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying I don't buy it yet. With Canzone, I buy some level of meaningful improvement here because of what he has changed at the plate. And there's been a lot of things that he's changed at the plate, but shorter to the baseball. That's a big thing when you get a tall guy, long swing. He's got good bat. He had decent bat speed coming in, better bat speed this year. So the changes he's made, just starting with those two things, dramatic difference. And we're talking about a meaningful difference on every single pitch. And now you see him sit back, wait for the ball to travel a little bit, hit that line drive to left center field. It's not about lifting the baseball, getting to his pull side, and he can do that. He's equipped to do those things now. That's why we're seeing – I want to see him face lefties. I'll be honest with you. I saw him at Tacoma, and I'm like, okay, like this is a left-hander throwing 93 with a sweeping slider, and he stayed in there and hit the ball hard a couple times. Let's see what – I don't think he's Luke Raley. I think sometimes people look at Canzone versus lefties the same way we've been looking at Luke Raley, which is fair. Raley's had some chances against lefties. Probably not going to be a guy that hits lefties. Canzone, I'm not so sure because of those changes.
And he can do the damage. I mean, he's always had the power, and now it's even more with the bat speed. His exit velocity is up a couple miles an hour right now as well. But the thing that really knocked me out, and then I went back and I looked it up, and I took a look at what he was before, and then I talked to him about it, was I think we had this idea that he was, okay, he's got crazy power, he is all or none, he strikes out a ton. He's never struck out a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what you are working with there, you know, just physically and what he's able to do, and the fact that he does have a decent eye at the plate, and perhaps a little bit of it is he's kind of realized I don't have to do too much up there. If I do stay up the middle, and if I hit it right, it's going to go out of the park. You know, I think that is adding up to what we're seeing, and he got off to a great start when he came up, so the confidence is there right now, and I think it's a different player. And he did say the shoulder injury, really, the AC that he was playing with last year, that had big.
Well, speaking of guys who are maybe healthier this year or something, we've gone this whole time talking about the improvements in the offense. Hard not to mention the guy who's been DHing for this team most of the year in Jorge Polanco, who last year was bad and this year is good. This game is dumb. I gotta say, like, honestly, the more I watch baseball, the more I think
is
it's
it really
the
that
best.
surprising though?
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
And he's been good
because it's everybody.
He's been good enough, right? Like a healthy Polanco has always hit.
The Polanco I watched last year was an atrocity. He was awful.
He wasn't healthy.
But he wasn't healthy.
He never had
But
his
the
legs
Polanco
last
we've
year.
watched this year isn't healthy.
So
he wasn't good when he was, you know, it seems
he's certainly
there's that
healthier
middle
than he was a
section
year
where he
ago,
didn't
right?
do
Right.
anything and was not able to get the ball in the air. Yeah. But coming out of the gates healthy, well, wasn't even completely healthy, but healthy enough. Yeah.
And right now he's that lineup lengthener. Like if he was a guy you went and got because you didn't have him now and you're just looking for this kind of league average sort of DH sort of bat to lengthen the lineup, bat 6 and 7, he's that guy. But you already have him, so you don't have to do that. Canzone, really interesting, you know, piece of this trade deadline discussion too. Like what you do can affect Raley or Solano or Canzone and how you use them or if you can use them. There are scenarios, and there's not a lot out there. We were talking about this at the break. There's not a lot out there to go get, but there are some scenarios where one of those guys has to go.
Yeah.
One of those guys, you can't have 5, you know, fringy right field, first base DH guys on your roster, and we'll include Polanco in this. But Canzone has made that really, really interesting. I think he's one of those guys you want to ride out and make sure what you do at the deadline includes Canzone being active on the big league roster.
Yeah, it is interesting. You have room at first, you have room at third, you have room in right, but there are guys who are performing in various ways at those positions, and Luke Raley, obviously his flexibility kind of makes that chart easier. So where it sounds like, listening to you, if you could you know, pick anybody, you want a third baseman.
100%. Absolutely. That's the easiest place. If you're telling me you get a league average bat, Just league average. I know you want more than that. If you tell me league average bat, you can put him anywhere on the field, and he's at least league average defensively. Third base is a spot where that is the largest improvement.
So you want Gino Suarez?
Yeah, absolutely. I know he still strikes out. That's a thing. Maybe that even goes up at T-Mobile Park when he comes over. But, total vibes guy, you're not worried about any of that, can still play the position, and he's driving the baseball. Like, absolutely. That's the number one guy on the list.
I will admit that I saw him and Cal embrace yesterday on TV and was like, oh, man.
Just stuff him in your pocket, Cal.
Just kind of seeing that of like, man, the big smile on Gino's face. And, yeah, I will admit, I've been sort of on the Josh Naylor thing. But as you talk through, what you've gotten from Canzone, do I want to bank on that for the rest of the year? Probably not. But versus the, 600 OPS or whatever Ben Williamson's running out right now, maybe it is third base where you've got to spend those resources more than first.
There's going to be a competition for Suarez if he is available. What do you think it's going to take to get him?
Yeah, I don't know. You look at, this has been the conversation around what that's going to take. It's like there's no other third baseman out there. How many teams need a third baseman as bad as Seattle?
Well, the Yankees think they do.
The Yankees think they do, but there's not. You don't have to trade Colt Emerson and Laz Montes to get 2 months of Eugenio.
But do you trade Harry Ford for it?
It's not going to be free. I wouldn't do that. I don't think you're going to need to do that. I think you might have to give them more. It might be a little bit more of a bulk kind of thing. Give the Diamondbacks a little bit of upside. But think about what Randy Arozarena cost. Okay, Randy Arozarena, just as good a player, just as valuable of a player, even though he's a left fielder and not a great one. 2 years and 2 months of Randy Arozarena cost you Brody Hopkins, Ty Cummings, and Aiden Smith. Okay, Hopkins and Smith for me were just outside the top 10, and I think for most people, right in that range. Why is it going to take more than that, or even equal to that, to get Eugenio Suarez for 2 months?
Market. I mean, it's always just market, right?
It's
What's
just
available.
It's not going to get. Teams are just going to pass. Then, if it's going to cost that, teams are just going to be like, all right, I guess you're just going to tender him the QO and hope you get compensation, or you're going to re-sign him because we're not giving you that. And if Seattle, I'm never a whatever it takes guy. I hate that. We talked about this the other day, Mike. The whole whatever the cost.
No,
whatever.
There's no such thing as whatever it takes. You always have chances to win year after year. You also got a stacked farm system, and you got a pretty good team in, you want to use the word mediocre? The American League is mediocre.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are no great teams in this league, so whatever it takes, no. But more than you might normally give, yes.
Sure.
I think I could talk myself into that. And what if it's Gino and one of their pitchers, right? I mean,
Shelby Miller out of the bullpen, somebody like that.
Or what's the other kid's name? Kelly, right, is the other guy who's available there. So, I mean, like,
you need a starter, maybe,
right? Like, are there ways to use a chip like Harry Ford, who I just think is blocked in Seattle, to go get maybe it's Gino and solve two of your problems at once?
And Suarez is not the only potential third base ad on the market either. Like, you may not like Alec Boehm. He's probably somewhat available if Philly figures out a way to do. But Willie Castro is the other guy.
Yeah,
he's second base, shortstop in his history, fits at third, has some versatility there. Switch hitter.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
I wouldn't play him every day. I'm looking for a guy I can play pretty much every day. Yeah, and I think Castro fits that, and Suarez fits that. So if you can find another team with it, I'm looking around for guys who have played third base ever, right? Because I think that's the situation Seattle is in. You know, like the Yankees picked up Jazz Chisholm last year and played him at third base. I'm looking for even situations like that. There's not a lot out there going on, but Castro fits. I think Castro might be a better get than Suarez, even though everybody's like, Suarez hitting all the bombs. I really like what Castro brings to the table. And I think he really fits in.
It's the known factor with Gino. Like, if somebody else edges out Gino, I'm still probably going with Gino because we've seen him do it here at this park. You know who he is as a person. You know how much respect he garners in that locker room. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine there'd be a Mariners fan alive who wouldn't be happy to see Eugenio back.
No, absolutely. But you have to also take a look at what they need in the lineup right now. And it's not always the guy who hits the most home runs.
Well, and I think that's why the Naylor idea is intriguing also. And Jason, I know you said you're not as high on Naylor, but it is that sort of complete hitter element. He gets on base, he hits for average, he hits for power. He's a threat in the lineup that other teams have to deal with, and he just makes it even longer.
He does, and he's not one of those guys either that tries to go to the middle of the field in the air a lot, which doesn't work at T-Mobile Park, even later in the summer, as much as in some other places. Teoscar Hernandez would be the first person to tell you that. I'm not as high on Naylor as some others. He obviously would help this Mariners ball club. You stick him in the middle, you get left-handed power. The ball travels okay to right field in the summer. I don't think the ballpark's going to kill him, and he's not a heavy fastball guy anyway, but he's not very good at first base, and he doesn't hit left-handed pitching. So what are you actually acquiring here? He's very good against righties, though, and that's obviously the strong side of any sort of a timeshare over there. But you do still have Donovan Solano in this ball club. If you were to acquire Naylor, and sometimes Solano has to, face that lefty, so be it. That's why you acquired him in the first place.
He's been pretty good against lefties, especially recently.
And there's a lot of, fan chatter. Just go get both Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor. Why not?
I'm into that.
I'm not giving up Ryan Sloan and Colt Emerson for him.
But if it starts with Harry Ford and goes to someone else after that, I'm having that conversation.
The conversation around Harry Ford is interesting to me too, because I'm not looking to move him just because I don't need him to catch for me for the next several years. I'm telling teams we got a guy that's 22, right? Can still use a little bit of time.
I'm telling teams that, sure, but I'm also looking.
And I would absolutely. There's a role for him on this club next year.
We'll see about that.
Oh, they don't want to catch Cal as much as they do.
I'm sure.
He could actually fit in.
Drafted a catcher with the number 35 pick who's 21. He's only a year young.
How long did it take Cal to get to the big leagues?
This kid's only a year younger than Harry Ford. They're almost the same age.
He's not ready.
We've gone almost an hour here, and we've barely mentioned Julio Rodriguez. That will change next on Brock and Salk.
He called it 20 years ago.
I'm the home run derby champ.
And as he always does, the Big Dumper delivered.
The Big Dumper is your home run derby champion.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh.
I just can't believe it long. It's unbelievable.
We can't wait for the second half of the Season of Cal on Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
What'd you say? I'm the man. Oh, yeah.
Power up your summer fun in a new Toyota RAV4. Now through August 4th, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 25 RAV4 or 5.99 on RAV4 Hybrid, excludes plug-ins, or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $319 a month for 36 months with $39.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax, title, and license extra. A negotiable doc fee of up to $200 may be added. Call 1-888-48-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
History, it had the gold rush. Then came the oil boom, the tech boom, but right now it's the Wi-Fi boom, and Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Xfinity has everything you need to tap into the Wi-Fi boom with seriously powerful and seriously reliable connection. It's got 99.99% network reliability and incredibly low lag, so your streams are smoother than making a decision on what to stream. And did I mention that you can even connect to hundreds of devices so you, your kids, your parents, your poker group, and whoever else is at home can all experience the Wi-Fi boom with Xfinity. And the Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed, all in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract, all with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X5 Complete required for unlimited data, except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards, USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
The countdown is on.
Just 8 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma.
Get your freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
All right, another hour of baseball talk. How great is this at the All-Star break? Brock will be back tomorrow, but I got Shannon Drayer and Jason Churchill with me. And, you know, this is great. Just talking baseball. We'll play a little buy or sell game at 9:30 for the rest of the season. So that'll be fun with these guys, just like we did yesterday with Brian Nemhauser, which was fun as well. We're trying to figure out who these Mariners are, and nobody knows. But, you know, I feel like as we talk, we're getting closer to an answer. We've barely talked Julio, at least today. We've talked plenty about him this year. He has been overall better-ish. The defense has been spectacular. The base running still factors in and it affects games. The walks have been a little more plentiful, but overall, the power's been way down. We just haven't seen that moment where Julio kind of clicks, nor have we seen any level of consistency until he decided to personally destroy the Detroit Tigers this past weekend and have about as good a weekend as you're ever going to see from anybody short of the one he had a few years ago. Where are we at with Julio on July 15th, 2025?
No, you go.
Exactly.
I'm still in when he came up and performed the way he did, that surprised me. Now, I'm not saying it was Cal Raleigh 2025 surprise level, but that surprised me. I mean, he was just so young, didn't have a ton of experience. Like, what's not to like about Julio? Watch him. I saw him in West Virginia in Class A, 18 years old, catches a routine fly ball for the third out of the inning, runs in with the biggest smile on his face because he's just like so happy to be playing for the West Virginia freaking Power, you know, in the rain and the 46-degree weather. And it's like, what's not to like about it? And then he goes out and goes like 2 for 4 with 2 bombs. What's not to like about him? But when he came up in 22, I was surprised he performed that well. And there's always going to be this, you know, we've heard of the sophomore slump sort of thing. And he was still pretty good in year 2, but we've seen that continue to go down. I think some of the issue here is Julio trying to find out who he is. We talk about who the Mariners are. He's trying to figure out who he is as a hitter. Is he just a masher? Is he Ronald Acuna Jr.? Is he Aaron Judge? Or is he just really a guy who's going to hit 260 with 30 bombs every year? And I think as the league starts to do different things with him, And it's really not that different. It's let's give him fewer pitches to hit in the strike zone, whether it's fastball or anything. And then along the way, he's 24 years old, still learning how to do some things, pitch identification, judgment of the strike zone. And it drives me crazy. It's first pitch or it's 1-0, and guy throws a 2-seamer 6 inches in off the plate. You can't do anything with that, Julio. You can't do anything with that. Not that anybody else really can. What are you doing? That's the sort of thing that kind of drives me bananas. But he's still just trying to kind of figure out who he is as a hitter instead of guys are going to make mistakes because they don't know me, and I'm going to crush it. And I think that's where we've been the last couple of years.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that is spot on. And I think that's one of the things that perhaps we saw the last few days in that I think this year he was kind of enjoying, okay, I'm not striking out as much. And he had convinced himself that I'm a really aggressive hitter. Like I'm going pitch 1 or pitch 2. And that's one of the reasons why we didn't see the strikeouts was he wasn't allowing himself to get to 2 strikes. But you weren't getting the power and you weren't getting the at-bats that I think that you should be getting from him and that he's capable of in talking.
Because he wasn't getting deep enough into the count to get the right pitch.
Because he was an aggressive hitter,
Yeah.
and he had convinced himself that's what I am. Everybody knows I am an aggressive hitter, and that's what I am. Therefore, I'm going to go early and swing at whatever is thrown at me. And part of that is a little bit of fear that you're going to all of a sudden start seeing the outside stuff and the breaking stuff that he was seeing before. But I think hopefully, and there have been times throughout this year and last year where you would say, hey, the underneath numbers look good, or, oh, that was a good at-bat. He's had a big string of good at-bats, and you would hope that, okay, this is it, now he goes. And we haven't seen that. We've had a couple of times where it's looked like that this year, and he hasn't. And for the first time, I was starting to think maybe we don't see second-half Julio, because second-half Julio is also a thing. But when I talked to him about what he did in Detroit after the final game there, he was asked, what it was, and he'll usually just give kind of the stock answers on that. No, just one of the last things he said was getting my pitch to hit. And I asked if that had changed. Is your pitch different? And he said, yes, a little bit. And he said that the answer that he gave indicated that he knew that if he got deeper into the count, he might see a better pitch to hit. And I think that maybe that's what we're seeing right now from him a little bit.
Well, it's interesting. I've been on this tear the last year or so, on just not even whiff percentage or swings outside the zone percentage, just how many pitches total Julio swings at. And it's, fairly remarkable. You look at it over the course of his career. When he came up, it was 50%, then 53%, then last year 54%, and this year it's gone up to 55.8% in a league that swings at about 47% of pitches total. By contrast, Randy Arozarena's in the high 30s, low 40s. So, like, that
Which also might be a problem, by the way.
It might be, fine. But 56% of the time, he's just swinging, whether it's in the zone or out of the zone. You bring up being aggressive early in the count. First few years of his career, first pitch swinging percentage, 39, 41, 39. This year, 49.3%. He's swinging at half of the first pitches he sees. Wade Boggs is vomiting right now at home. Well, maybe that's from all the beers he drank last night, but still. I mean, like, he's swinging at half of the first pitches? That really feels like an unsustainable number. And by the way, the league is at, on first pitch, 30%.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of first pitch breaking balls these days. The last 5-10 years, that's certainly grown. Or fastball's top rail. You're getting a fastball, but it's not something you really drive. But that's what Shannon was speaking about. If you're going to be aggressive, you're probably going to strike out less. There was a lot of that with Polanco, at least early in the year as well. I think he's still really trying to do that. The first good, decent pitch you get to hit, go for it. The thing with Julio in 2-strike counts is it's been the same idea. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 0-2, 1-2, doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And hitters, when you learn about hitting from people who teach it, people who've done it, they will tell you, at least traditionally, hitters should have 8, 10, 12 different swings. There's this really aggressive jump out of my shoes kind of swing that I'm really trying to drive the ball 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 sort of thing, or there's this, I really just need to make, or I need to hit the ball to the other, or I need to get the ball in the air, or if I hit the ball, if I push the ball to the right side, I'm getting that guy to third base. When you get to 2 strikes, those things come into play, even for hitters like Aaron Judge or Julio Rodriguez, and we haven't seen a lot of, like a little bit of a different attack plan depending on the count, depending on the situation with Julio. I think he's trying to do that this year.
Quickly, just to go back to something you said earlier, Julio trying to figure out what kind of a player, what kind of a hitter he is. I love that. It's a great way of looking at it. We only have a minute, but for each of you, which player do you think is the best version? Like, which player of those things do you think Julio could or should be?
For me, I want to see. I think everything's in there for him, even though we haven't seen it all put together. I think that's going to be on the table for a while with him. So I want to see him maximize everything that he has. So I think he should. I think he can be a complete hitter. There's always going to be some strikeouts, but I think he can be a complete hitter. And, of course, you want to see the power from him.
Yeah, I think he's Ron Gant. You remember Ron Gant, the Braves?
Yeah.
I think that's who Julio, like the best years of Ron Gant, I think that's who Julio is. But you have to throw in better defense, playing center. And the fact that he's 24 and the power might actually get to the 40s. I mean, he's 24 years old. Like, his power prime is still coming. We're seeing Cal do that, 28 years old. What's Julio going to look like in 4 years?
It is important to remember that Julio's 4 years younger than Cal Raleigh. Cal wasn't even in the big leagues at 24. That being said, superstars generally have it pretty well figured out by 24 and are starting to put up some of the great years of their career. So I don't know what direction it goes with Julio. I'm still very optimistic. I know there are folks that are down on him. Obviously, I've been frustrated through the first half like everybody has been. That's not what I want to see from Julio. But long term, I do still remain really hopeful that that great player we've seen is still in there, hopefully just more consistently than we've seen this year. All right, quick break, everything you need to know next, and then we'll play a little Mariners buy-sell with Shannon, Drayer, and Jason Churchill hanging out, which is great. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
He's the southpaw from down under, Ryan Roland Smith with Wyman and Bob.
What was your reaction to Julio making the All-Star squad?
Julio going to the All-Star game is nothing but great. It's good for his confidence. I would say J.P. Crawford had a bigger case at shortstop than Julio did at center field to make the All-Star game. When you have a leadoff hitter with the on-base that he has, I thought J.P. had a bigger case.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
And now, tales of another way. You're packing for a trip. Stuffing clothes in a suitcase works mostly. But such chaos in your carry-on. Then you try packing cubes. Organization? Meet harmony. Sometimes another way is the better way. Like the new SR 509 Expressway, the alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads, plus provide better access to the ports. It's open now. Try it free through summer. Learn more at goodtogo509.com.
Celebrate 40 years of The Bite. The Bite of Seattle returns to Seattle Center, July 25th to 27th. Over 300 food and retail vendors, plus games and live music. Admission is free. Enjoy a Seattle summer tradition at The Bite of Seattle with delectable multicultural cuisine, live entertainment, and fun for everyone. Enjoy a Friday night screening of Pixar's Ratatouille at the Mural. Taking over Seattle Center July 25th to 27th. Come to The Bite, biteofseattle.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. Summer is the perfect time for a new roof. Take advantage of our easy financing, summer specials, and the best warranty in the business. Have a great summer. See you next hockey season. Trust Techline.
Upgrade your heat pump or air conditioner right now and save up to 25% during Home Comfort Alliance warehouse clearance sale. All remaining 2024 heat pumps and air conditioners are now up to 25% off. Visit homecomfortalliance.com today.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. That is strikeout number 7 for Brian Wu.
Home. Home is where you get to cook things up just the way you like.
Swing and a miss.
Where you're never afraid to get in the kitchen.
He got him a huge strikeout from Logan Gilbert in 7th tonight.
Where you serve, carve, put some extra mustard on it.
There's the fist pump by Luis Castillo. Strikeout number 10 on the night.
And get a little spicy.
Set a heater at 100. Back-to-back strikeouts for Andres Munoz.
Now you're cooking with gas. Mariners baseball at T-Mobile Park. Welcome home.
The Mariners return from the All-Star break at the end of the week with an AL West showdown against the Astros. Don't miss your chance to catch Cal and the crew square off against their division rivals Friday through Sunday at T-Mobile Park. Then it's 3 straight Mariners value games versus the Brewers, July 21st to 23rd. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Get rid of stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin with ProSculpt, the simple one-day permanent fat reduction and skin tightening treatment. Book your free consultation at prosculpt.com.
Dave Wyman joined by a very special guest, Dr. Daniel Landis. He's on the Swedish CyberKnife team treating prostate cancer and accepting new patients. Dr. Landis, what could patients expect during CyberKnife treatment?
So the CyberKnife treatment's an outpatient procedure. Essentially, it's a 5-day treatment, about 30 minutes per day. You walk in, you walk out. You essentially don't feel anything at all during treatment. Many patients still work full-time while they're having treatment.
That's incredible. Where are your patients from?
We see patients from all over, patients from out of state, Alaska, Idaho, from all over the world, honestly, since it's such a short treatment.
How can someone get a hold of you?
I would encourage patients to reach out to us directly. We'd be happy to schedule a consultation.
Thank you, Dr. Landis and the team at Swedish CyberKnife for the wonderful work they do. And remember, you don't need a physician's referral. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. That's swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hoped it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Progressive's Teen Driver discount could lower the cost of insurance for your teenager and save you some money. And then you can still spend money on them. Because just when you think you have a grasp on spending, new sneakers. And then it's money for a school field trip. And of course, spending money. Oh yeah, and a new phone to replace the one they dropped in the toilet. Oh, don't remind me. So just get Progressive's Teen Driver discount. And then you can continue to spend money on them endlessly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states and subject to terms and conditions.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
What a night for Cal Raleigh, who was, well, doing what he does best right now, hitting home runs.
Oh, yeah. Woo! Got on top of that one.
How about his brother right there? Good hack. It's fitting that a Seminole hits it to the chop house.
19 for the big jumper.
Yeah, 19 was how we got out of the second round, taking down O'Neal Cruz, who is an absolute physical freak show. God, he is fun and cool looking and just, I mean, like, we watched him here with Pittsburgh a week or two ago, and you can still see the problems with him as a player. Not fully developed, but my God, the talent, the size, just the whole, the charisma. Watching him and Ellie De La Cruz out there together is a really cool deal. They're very similar in so many ways with the height and the look. Just, I don't know. I just kind of dug that.
Get him out of Pittsburgh, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a terrible place.
Get him out.
Yeah, it's awful. But, man, that throw he had here to get JP is It was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So, yeah, it was fun last night. I really enjoyed the whole thing. Cal first advancing, then beating O'Neal Cruz, then eventually Junior Caminero in the finals, and he goes on to win the home run derby. His dad throwing to him was a great part of the story. How about his little brother? 15 years old. I will say my 13-year-old daughter was impressed, and I'm sure she wasn't the only one around. That kid handled himself pretty well.
I love when he was asked, what did you see from your vantage point? Greatness.
Yeah. I actually have that. Hold on. Here's the kid. Here's, where is he? Here we go. Yeah, what'd you see from your older brother?
Greatness.
Then they asked him later about learning to be a leader, and he's like, well, I just want to be like this guy. Pretty cool. On the other side of it, of course, his dad throwing to him, and an amazing day for him.
Well, it's just a great accomplishment, and I think that everybody, every dad that's ever had a kid, this is what they dreamed about, and as a dad, you kind of dream about it. To see it come true for your son is unbelievable.
It's the season of Cal, Shannon. This is the season of Cal.
They sound exactly alike.
I know.
It's so funny.
Well, he still sounds more like Divish than anyone. Do you remember Ryan Divish? Remember that guy?
What?
He used to work here. It was a while ago, but you might remember him. Anyway, pretty cool. Pretty cool night for Cal Raleigh. Nice night for the Mariners. And, yeah, we'll see him starting at catcher and hitting fourth tonight for the American League squad.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Our draft is done. Mariners get 21 players, 13 pitchers, 8 position players, 3 catchers, by the way, 2 shortstops, and 3 outfielders. Look, the story obviously is still Kate Anderson. Wyman and Bob yesterday got to talk to the LSU coach who's had him for the last year or so, Jay Johnson, and here's what he said about what the Mariners are getting.
Well, in my opinion, they're getting the player that is the closest to helping a major league team that was available in this draft. And I do believe he will be a long-time major league starting pitcher, successful starting pitcher. The pitchability is outstanding. 4 pitches for a strike. Never boxed in to, if he doesn't have one pitch, he's always got ways to get guys out. Both left and right-handed hitters, power, solid hitting skills guys. Strikes he just fills up the zone.
I feel like he could have just gone on forever talking about how much he likes this kid. And Jason, sounds like you're right there with him.
Yeah, I said this earlier. I would have gone a little, taken more risk, gone a little bigger, maybe do the high school kid in Seth Hernandez. But it's hard to argue with a guy who could step into your rotation tomorrow, like legitimately. And 2026 is my ETA on him. So if you have a starting pitching problem a year from now, Kate Anderson is one of the answers to that.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Mariners went with a guy who was the closest to being big league ready. And look, he's just so good, maybe you didn't have a choice. Like, he's there, you take him. But they feel like a team that needs some of that the least. Like, they've got so many guys getting ready to be ready. It feels like if anyone could have afforded, high upside, Ethan Holiday kind of potential, it was them. Obviously, they just didn't believe in what Ethan Holiday offers.
Yeah, when you go into the draft, you have different philosophies. Every team kind of thinks about it a little bit differently. This draft was seen as kind of a 40, 45 grade draft, below average. So to me, it's like, what are you missing out on if you take a bigger risk? I would have taken the bigger risk. But with Kate Anderson, there's basically no risk. I mean, there's risk because he's a human being walking on 2 feet, but that's, and a pitcher, that's about it. What I don't buy in on is some of the, hey, he's going to throw 98 miles an hour at some point. There's some of that going around. You get him in the gas camp, and he's going to sit 95. I don't see that at all. I just see a guy who's going to come up and be kind of a mix of Barry Zito and Blake Snell and some guys like that and pitch for a long time. It's certainly difficult to disagree with his college coach, but
sounds pretty good.
This is pretty good, right? Like,
I take a combination of those two guys,
and he's probably not a number 1, and he probably settles in as maybe a 2, a light 2. But at worst, like when your floor is a mid-rotation starter in the draft,
that's pretty good.
Wow, and a lefty. Imagine just throwing Kate Anderson into the rotation today.
Yeah, they don't have any lefties.
Yeah, don't have any lefties.
Yeah, they're not interested in that.
They have half a lefty.
That's true. In Saincha, you mean?
But Kate Anderson beats Saincha to the big leagues by at least a year.
Higher upside
Where's
for Saincha?
Sloan? Where are the 3? Put the 3 together.
I would say, in terms of ETA,
and what they are.
I think.
Keep the music going.
Yeah, keep that music going.
I think Sloan has the biggest upside here.
Yeah.
But also the least chance to get there. Right. I think I've heard Scott Hunter say things like if everything works out, you get a Garrett Cole type,
Big,
aircraft
tall,
carrier,
right-hander.
6'5", 230, 95 to 100, can manipulate the fastball to either side of the plate. The slider's already plus, changeup's already above average.
No, you're gonna have to wait. We're out of the music. We need to move it along. I'm sorry. The music.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Hey, you don't care about the NFL thing. Keep going. What else you got?
Yeah, so I think I would go Sloan on upside. Sanchez not that far behind, but Cade Anderson's going to beat them both to the big leagues and has a really good chance to ultimately be the best of the three. So while he might have a little bit more of a limited ceiling than the other two, maybe. Like, there's not a huge difference there. And that's why you take a guy like that at 3. I mean, I just, when all that went down, and I'm just like, I just kind of threw my hands up thinking, how many backflips are being done over there? Like, seriously, when the number one guy on the board and you thought he was going 1 and then you thought he was going 2, falls. Imagine that was the NFL, Mike.
Given that everyone knew that's what the Mariners wanted, I'm surprised the Angels didn't take him just to spite the Mariners.
And start him next week.
Yes. Like, just to spite them, like, oh, that's what you want? We're going to take him even though we like this other guy better. I don't know. That's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. That's Jason Churchill going through one of the things he does best, talking about prospects. That's why it's Prospect Insider, and Shannon Drayer, of course, our Mariners Insider. It's time to play a little game. We will do it here in just a moment. I've got, 8 or 10 Mariner buy-sell questions for you. I'll try to explain the rules in the break and see if you guys can handle it.
Rules?
Oh, yeah. It's a very rule-heavy situation.
Rules at 9:30.
It's next on Brock and Salk.
Jordan Schusterman every Wednesday morning at 11 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports.
How do you foresee this rotation shaping out before the All-Star break?
I certainly don't think that's the last we will see of Emerson Hancock this season. I will be interested to see if Logan Evans can make a push to replace him at some point, how they kind of go back and forth between both of those guys. I think from a workload standpoint, I have to imagine they want to be a little bit more careful with Evans.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Mike Salk here with some exciting news from family-owned business. Yes, my buddies, I'm talking about Riverside Roofing. They've once again earned that prestigious GAF Master Elite President's Club. So, yeah, they are now in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers in the country. Cream of the crop from Marysville, serving homeowners all over Western Washington. They are the roofing company you can trust. So that's good news for you, right? It means you're hiring the best of the best, a company that gets high marks in performance, reliability, and service. They're going to make sure your yard and your driveway are totally clean from debris after the job is done. Plus that elite warranty to match. Highly reviewed, highly recommended. Riverside Roofing is your local go-to roofing contractor. Book them right now. You can find them at riversideroofingllc.com. And yep, they're the roofing company you can trust.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Hey golf fans, Jordan Babineau here. Get ready for an unforgettable weekend at the 2025 Boeing Classic. Come see Masters champions and Hall of Fame golfers battle it out at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge, August 8th through the 10th. Bring the whole family and check out Seahawks Village, packed with fun for all ages. Plus, celebrate 20 years of the Boeing Classic, supporting the Benaroya Research Institute at Virginia Mason Franciscan Health. It's more than just golf. It's an experience you won't want to miss. August 8th through the 10th. Tickets start at just $20 and kids get in free. Visit BlowingClassic.com for more.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Being the new kid in high school is hard. I didn't know if I would be accepted or if I'd fit in, because being known is key to who we are. Hi, I'm Peyton Seal. When I first came to King's Schools, I knew something was different. My teachers cared about me. I have community. I'm learning who God called me to be.
Sign up for a tour today, and if you enroll, just mention this ad and pay no application fee. Visit joinkings.org for more info. That's joinkings.org. Building resilient disciples of Christ through Christian education for 75 years.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, another 25 minutes or so with our Mariner Roundtable today. Jason Churchill and Shannon Drayer. So cool. Yes, 206, I agree. We should have Church and Shannon every week. This is awesome. No rules at 9:30. Shannon is the best today, low-key hilarious. There's nothing low-key about Shannon's hilariousness. She's always hilarious, and it's high-key.
Just don't tell anybody.
All right, well, I think I've explained the rules of the game. It's buy or sell, where I'll throw you out some ideas, and we'll see whether you're buying or selling it for the rest of the year. Cal Raleigh will get 55 home runs this year.
I hate this game already. I don't make predictions.
The game's hard.
No, I don't want to play.
Well, it's about it's not about predicting it. It's about how you think he handles things and kind of, what you see and how it'll translate.
I have to think. That's a tough number. That is a tough number. That's a really tough number.
I did. I picked the number.
Mike picked you picked 55?
Yeah.
I don't want to bet against Cal Raleigh.
I don't either. So just say buy. It's pretty easy.
I'm going to hold.
You can't hold. You have to buy. That's the fun of this thing.
Okay, well, if it's fun, yes.
Yeah, see, this is all fun, Shannon. Nobody brings you back and, ties you to these.
So is the question he gets to 55 or gets more than 55?
Yeah, 55 plus.
55 plus. I'm going to sell that. It's
That's
not half
in
the
the back
season.
row.
It's not half the season. We don't have half the season.
I know, you've only got
left,
2 months to go.
That is the thing that sort of jumps out to me. Everyone keeps saying, well, he's almost at Barry Bonds for the first half record. Like, Bonds did it in 86 games. 87. Cal's at 96.
You know, dog days of August sort of thing. Not going to get pitches to hit.
Yeah.
You know, we're already seeing that.
On the other hand,
I think
warm weather in August.
50 is certainly, more than legitimate, but
Yeah.
55 might be a little stretch. I would sell.
What was the
I had him
Salvi Perez
50
number?
in the
54?
first month.
50?
56 is the Griffey.
Is Griffey, and Salvi Perez is 54?
Yeah.
I think he gets past Salvi Perez. I think he gets to 55. I think he does it. Do you think Julio could get to 30?
Where's he at now?
15 or 16? I think he's a 16. He was at 13 going into Detroit, hit 3. So he needs to double it.
Can he? Sure.
Yeah.
Can? Yes. Capable of? Yes.
I think he does. I think
I'm gonna
Julio
buy that
gets
one.
on a tear. I'll definitely buy this.
Yeah. It's an easy buy, I think.
Buy or sell? The Mariners acquire 3 new players by the deadline.
Huge buy.
Have you met Joey Dakota?
Have.
That's an easy question. They might do it, before the All-Star break is over. I mean, they don't play again until Friday. They might have 3 new players
What
on
time is
Friday,
it?
Mike. Yeah.
Well, other teams are going to need to be willing to trade those players. I don't think those other teams were ready by Friday. Those
Arizona
other teams are going
is.
to need.
I'm telling you right now, Arizona is ready to go.
Think so?
Yes. They saw what the Orioles were able to do by trading a little bit earlier, because that's what Tampa did. We're going to pay a little higher because we're doing a little earlier and beat everybody else in the market. And that's why teams like Arizona, Washington, some other clubs are open to doing it right now.
So 3 means 2 bats and an arm, or 2 arms and a bat?
I think it's going to be easier to acquire the arms.
So 2 arms, 1 bat.
But I think they ultimately end up adding 2 position players.
Yeah. So you think there are 4 new players on this team by August 1st?
Yeah, I would go over 3.5.
Wow. Shannon, would you too? Over 3.5?
I'll go 3.
Yeah, it's hard to get 4 players at the deadline.
How many did they get last year?
3? Right.
Wasn't that hard? How hard is it to get?
I mean, he could make a last-minute deal for a reliever that he wants to take a flyer on easily.
True.
So
Yeah.
it's very possible.
How many current players on this major league roster get dealt? 0?
I would say 1. You might have to throw in somebody for something, either to clear, the path to for the new player.
Okay.
Or because you just simply don't have room.
So you mean like a Ben Williamson, a Luke Raley, a Dom Canzone? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, Raley could. I could see that. There are scenarios where Raley could.
It's hard for me. The Raley one would be hard for me, and I was not particularly high on Raley, especially like beginning of last year when he first had come over. But I don't know. We talk about identity, and I don't know exactly what the Mariners' identity is, but that combination of speed and power feels, if not rare, pretty darn close to it.
How much does Raley actually make an impact with his speed, though? I'm not saying it's 0. I'm not saying that. But he's not Julio.
I don't
he's
have
not,
an answer.
You know what I mean?
I can't answer that other than that his style of play sure seems to fit what the Mariners, what I think they want to be, as well as anybody else's on this team. I'm not saying he's the best player on the team, but God, that fit seems so perfect between him and this organization right
So it might depend on who they acquire. That
Yeah.
would make the difference for you.
I would be loath to take him out of this lineup, which is weird because I was not like.
That's a pretty strong word, by the way.
Loathed. I would be loath to do so. It would be loathsome to me.
Yeah, I'm going over. Yeah,
All right.
I think they're getting 4 players.
Over under. Or I'm sorry, no, buy or sell. I forgot what game we're playing. Brian Wu would start the first game of the playoffs, assuming you had your option.
No.
No?
Am I
Still Logan?
Are we predicting or are we making the
I
decision?
mean, well, if you're making the postseason, then I think you've had somebody really do something.
Okay, so you think it would be either Kirby or Gilbert or even Luis who would start?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, Brian Wu has no experience in that situation.
I think for me, it depends. For me, it depends on, like if we're removing the element of what if you just pitched on Friday and the game is, Monday or Tuesday,
Right.
that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
I'm removing that.
But if we're removing that,
You get to line it up.
To be honest with you, from what we know today, I think I would go with Wu. He seems like the best shot right now to give me 6 innings, to give me 6 good innings. And yeah, the inexperience is a thing. Certainly a thing. Game 1 of a division series or something like that, or a wild card series. Yeah, certainly. But I mean, he's a Major League Baseball player.
The damnedest thing about this team, too, is like I could change my mind on this at any given moment. Like,
I think that's the nature of this rotation.
And maybe that's true. Like at the beginning of the year, if you said, hey, George Kirby to me was the biggest question mark in the rotation coming into the year. I've never been like,
What?
I know, I've never been like 100% all in on Kirby. That's the guy I would have traded in the offseason if I could.
More than Castillo?
Yeah, because I kind of know what I'm going to get from Castillo. But now I'm like, and then obviously he gets hurt and he comes back, not great at first. Right now he looks like the best pitcher in the rotation. So I don't know, man. Like I change my mind constantly on what I think about each of the guys.
Well, they're helping you do that.
They are, right? I mean, like, and Logan not pitching kind of up to his potential. We spent some time on that earlier, but there is also a little part of me that would be like, you know what? I'm just going to start Luis Castillo first game of the playoffs, give it to the veteran, let him do
Sometimes
his
it
thing.
depends on the matchup, too.
Yeah, that's fair. And where you're playing. Luis Castillo here versus Luis Castillo on the road. Pretty
Luis
different.
Castillo versus the Astros, or are you playing, someone else?
Right.
Because you don't want that. Right.
Seems like that is
home
not
or
worked.
away.
Does not
just
work
avoid
very
that.
well.
Yep.
Cal wins the MVP tonight.
I don't think they're voting on it today, so
No, of the All-Star game. No, the All-Star game MVP.
No, I mean that's an easy. I'll sell on that.
You'll sell on that.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Sold in the back row.
All right. Cal wins the AL MVP.
I'm a hard sell on that.
No chance.
No.
You know his problem is he doesn't wear those pinstripes.
Sold in the back row.
It is part of the problem.
It's really hard to vote for
And that-
somebody who doesn't wear pinstripes.
And that's not me saying we can't get to a certain situation where he should win it.
Right.
But I don't think
But he won't win it.
I think there's a very, very tiny chance he wins.
I would agree.
Aaron Judge, by the way, is the best player in the American League.
I mean, he's really good. There's no doubt.
It's
But
incredible.
there is something to the value thing. There is something to being a catcher. There is something to the amount of other things he does. Did you guys see the Vinny Pasquantino stuff last night?
Yeah.
Dude, that was a riot.
He's awesome.
I didn't know he was that awesome. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was new to this. So Vinny Pasquantino, for those who missed it, been tweeting last night during the home run derby. First says, "Oh, I'm Cal Raleigh. I hit a lot of home runs. I hit from both sides of the plate. I play the most valuable position. I have one of the coolest nicknames in sports. Screw you, man."
So great.
Dude, that is hilarious. It might be even funnier that people thought he wasn't joking. That's even funnier. But I actually like this one. Did you see the one where he says, you think Skeens knows what Ellie Cattell and Tatis are saying? He goes back to say, sometimes I go out for mound visits with Sal or Freddie, with Estevez, Zerpa, and Cruz, where they only speak Spanish and have absolutely no clue what's being said. But I give a good vamo at the end, and I feel like I contributed. Dude, he's awesome.
How about trading for that guy?
He's not having a good year, right? Isn't he struggling?
He's turned it on. He really
has
struggled
he?
the first half of the first half, but he's been a lot better.
I would take him. What's left on his deal?
You need some time. It's not
Is
going to
it?
be. This is a controllable first baseman. Yeah.
I like Vinny Pasquantino. I want that guy on the team, that's for sure. And I want him to do, if Shannon gets to do the Cal Raleigh show every Thursday, I want to do the Vinny Pasquantino show on Tuesdays.
I get the two together. I think that
With
would
Logan?
be-
The three of them?
Oh, boy.
And Logan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Logan's got his own version of hilarity.
Yes,
Just
he
Logan and
does.
Cal together.
Yes, he
I think it's just a very, very funny bit. All right, last year, Jorge Polanco ran a strikeout percentage of 29.2%. It currently sits at 14%. Buy or sell, he can keep it under 16% the rest of the year.
So.
Sold in the back row.
Just think it's too hard for him to stay healthy.
Yeah, he's not trending in that direction either right now, I don't think.
Yeah, I think if you just said 18, I'd have bought that.
Okay.
Like 2 percentage points.
18 would be pretty good, by the way.
It still would be, but what does that mean? He's at 14 now, you said?
Yeah.
And to stay under 18 in what, 70 games, 65 games, 70 games?
I mean, that would mean he'd basically have to keep it under 20% for the rest of the
18,
year.
18 he can do, at 16 is rough.
The fact that he's at 14% is a really remarkable number. He's cut that more than in half.
Swing at one of the first 2 pitches 148% of the time. That's going to happen.
I mean, that's true. That is true.
Not always good.
He's been a remarkably bizarre story. Buy or sell. Logan Gilbert goes 7 innings in a start this year.
Bye.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that it's like barely happened?
Yeah. It has been crazy. And part of that is the efficiency portion of it. Like he's been good, but hasn't been able to continue because he's at 98 pitches or whatever.
So he's going to do that, and then he's going to do it another time, and he's going to start game 1 of the playoffs.
That sounds good for me. I'll count me in on that. That's a buy sell. with Shannon Drayer, who's very hard to play buy-sell with because she doesn't like to make predictions, and Jason Churchill as well. These aren't real predictions. These are like ways of talking through what you think the team is all about and what some of these guys are doing. One of the ones I thought about was Cole Young, who's got a WRC plus right now of 88, meaning he's 12% below league average as an offensive player. You think he could get that up to 100 by the end of this year? He's certainly trending in that direction.
It's been very good since the first 5 to 7 games.
Yeah.
Very good. So absolutely. Yeah, I'd buy on that one.
Yeah, his progression's
is the game over?
The game's over. You can't buy anymore. Yeah, there's no more money to buy.
Where was that question?
Yeah. But you like that. You think he's definitely moving in that direction. Definitely is not the right word, but that's the trend.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Cole Young. Shannon, you're in there every day, and he seems very quiet. We haven't seen a lot of his personality. Who is Cole Young?
Kind of a dude. He not big on the interviews, but you do hear him telling stories and things like that, kind of away from the interviews. You see the interaction. I think it's really great. We've talked before about how hard it used to be to break into the big leagues as a rookie, and they're seen and not heard, and we're not too far separated from that. And now it's incorporated. They're going to help us win. J.P. Crawford is just huge fans of both Williamson and Cole Young, and has been instrumental in bringing them along. Do you know that J.P. invites them to his hotel room on the road to play the Nintendo Switch?
No.
Yeah. They and I finally asked what they were doing. They were doing the bowling.
Okay.
So that's
good to know.
That's what happens on the road now.
That is awesome.
That is, the kind of, to see Williamson and Young together, it's just huge. They're a good comfortable. They're not intimidated by the situation. They feel they belong. And with Cole, there's a good amount of confidence to him. And you didn't see any panic. You didn't see him wearing it when he got off to a little bit of a slow start. One of my favorite things that I've seen all year this year is him smiling when he hit his first home run. You don't see that. Yeah. He rounds first base and has this huge smile on his face. Look what I did.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And what I enjoy in watching him right now is he's turning into Cole Young at the big league level. It's never instantaneous.
Right.
There are ups and there are downs, but of late we're starting to see him become who he is.
And Jason, you followed him on the way up. Isn't this sort of the pattern that he's had at every level of taking a little while to get adjusted and then taking off?
Yeah, a little bit. It's happening quicker. I mean, he didn't really struggle in Tacoma all that much, and he hasn't really struggled at the big leagues all that much, but it happened pretty quickly. 21, 22-year-old kids coming up and doing things like that's pretty remarkable. I'm glad you brought it up, Shannon. He is one of the most confident. He's quiet. One of the most confident players I've ever seen in the minors. And he walks around like he's about to go out there and hit, 5 for 5 with 5 grand slams. That's what it seems like. It reminds me a little bit, like in a positive manner, it reminds me a little bit of Dustin Ackley. Dustin Ackley thought he was going to hit 1,000. He didn't.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. But that's what it reminds me of.
Then it turned out Dustin Ackley's friend was better than him, and he didn't know how to handle that. Right, it seemed like it broke him in every imaginable way.
But Cole also puts in the work, and I mean that's a guy who works a ton, but supremely confident and really competitive.
I mean, it sounds like you're describing in some ways a quiet Dustin Pedroia as well. I mean, same type of thing where he's not the biggest guy, but walks around like, oh no, I'm going to own this place real soon.
We talked a little earlier about Julio still trying to learn who he is as a hitter. Cole Young knows exactly who he is as a hitter.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's nothing he does that strays from that. I've never seen that in the minors.
It's been interesting. So just since we have you here and both you guys, we've mostly spent this time talking big league team because, that's kind of where we're at. We spent a little time in the draft and need to know. But the organization is in such a healthy spot, kind of going through these prospect lists, et cetera. Just give me maybe a blurb on where you're at with some of these guys that we get to talk about. Maybe start with Laz Montez, who seems to capture the imagination of fans as much as anybody. What are we seeing, and what's the future look like potentially for Laz Montez?
Yeah, I've been kind of low, man, on Montez, waiting for him to get to AA to answer some of the questions that he has, like end zone swing rates, swing percentage, and swing and miss rates in the zone. Those are problems. And there's probably some mechanical things that aren't necessarily great there that make the swing a little longer, makes it a little more difficult for him to get to certain pitches. But you can't make mistakes against him. I mean, that's legit 70 grade or better power. I mean, that's a guy who, if you're playing him 150 games in a season, he's getting 600 plate appearances, 30 home runs would be a disappointment for Laz Montez. Defensively, he probably gets to the big leagues as a Jorge Soler sort of outfielder. I'm not saying he's terrible. There's just not going to be a ton of range there. And he's probably a year and a half out, something like that. But there's legitimate middle-of-the-order upside there, but it's just going to take a little time for him to get there. Michael Arroyo went to Double-A with him.
Yep.
Significantly more ready to handle that, and his trek to the big league is probably going to be a little quicker.
Yeah, I did a bit on that the other day, actually yesterday, saying, hey, for all the talk of Montez, Arroyo might be the best story in their minor league organization right now. He's destroying Double-A after getting there, and that is a big jump, right, from Single A or from High A to Double-A.
And he's hitting for power, and he's got 20 homers, got 20-plus homers already.
Who has bigger fielding questions?
I just think from a value standpoint, I think it's Montez because he's either, 40, 45 grade right fielder or he has to go first base DH. And he hasn't played first base. So as we've learned from Ron Washington, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm not Arroyo at second. I'm not an Arroyo second baseman kind of guy. I think you could kind of force it and he can manage a little bit. I think third base or left field is probably where he fits best, and he hasn't played those positions, so we'll kind of see how that
is. That a Howie
works out.
Kendrick comp? I know I've heard that before. Is that the best comp for him, Howie Kendrick?
I think prime Howie Kendrick.
Howie Kendrick in his prime, by the way, was a pretty good player.
Was really good.
He's not like a perennial all-star, but he's a good player.
Right. That's absolutely the comp. That's the comp I've been throwing on for 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that makes sense. He's kind of built like him a little bit.
Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shannon, who else? Who intrigues you these days in the minor league system? Who's on your mind?
Well, I love watching the pitchers, Ryan Sloan and Sanja, and it's going to be a little bit, you don't get to see them as much. It's going to be a little bit longer. They're going to be a little bit more careful with them, but I think the development of Sanja is just fascinating and what they ultimately choose to do with him, and it seems like they've kind of got a direction with that right now. And then Sloan, I was a little disappointed.
Are they sticking with where they're at now, where he's throwing right-handed and occasionally flipping over during the start rather than a second bullpen appearance as
for
a
now,
lefty?
yes. I mean, he very well may be right-handed, but they're not going to
commit to it. And I think they'll always, as long as that option is there, and it's too soon to just say that's not going to happen. And it's, he's been eye-opening since he hit this organization. For everything that they thought they were getting, they're still just, whoa, when what they've seen with that. That said, still a lot of development to be done there. And then when you said, well, Sloan is the biggest risk, I was like, that's the one that kind of, for me, really captures the imagination. Just as young as he is, as big as he is, the velocity that he throws with, the arsenal that he has, and then he also seems to have a really good head on his shoulders. I'm very intrigued to see where he ends up Maybe
going.
the player I feel like I know the least about who's up near the top of their prospect list is Johnny Farmello. And maybe because he was hurt for a while and we're starting to see him now. I think I got a sense as to who Colt Emerson is. I think I got a sense as to who Ty Pete is. I'm not sure I really understand who Johnny Farmello is. Who is he? Or what is he?
Jim Edmonds?
Well, I want that.
I think that's the
Jim
ceiling.
Edmonds is like one of my favorite players
I think that's
ever.
the ceiling. You get a guy who can hit 25 homers, can play center field.
I love Jim Edmonds.
I'm not saying he's going to make all the diving catches.
He has to. He has to make that one catch over and over again. Yeah.
We'll try
if
to
you
get
want
that.
a Jim Edmonds catch, you've got to make the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Then let's get that note to him so he can start working on that.
Is that the best catch you've ever seen?
It's got to be up there. I saw Chuck Carr actually make one.
I don't know.
Absolutely flat out SportsCenter highlight for years that he never gets credit for because he couldn't hit. And Jim Edmonds, it's an amazing, amazing catch.
Is I think my favorite baseball random baseball highlight of a non-big moment or something like that. I think it's number one. Like if I can watch anything, be like, oh yeah, I'll just watch the Jim Edmonds catch.
You just don't see anything like that. It's not like you've seen 5 people make a similar catch and his was the best. But
it's not like he was slow and so he had to make a great catch. Yeah. He was a really good defensive outfielder. So you think that's a comp for?
I think that's the ceiling
Farmello.
comp on Farmello. Yeah, I think the power is real. The swing they've been working on, but he's been able to get to everything. That's the thing. We always think about, his swing is long. He's got a hitch. Does he get to velocity? Can he cover the entire zone?
Mm-hmm.
Does he recognize when, spin? Like when hitters are doing those sorts of things, just play off the box score a little bit for a while and just kind of watch him develop. And he's 21 years old, so he's not quite as young as the Arroyos and the Emersons and the Celestins, but loud tools. The power is above average to plus. The speed is above average to plus. If he sticks in center after that knee injury, I think Jim Edmonds is a good ceiling.
I mean, that would really be cool to have a Jim Edmonds along with Colt Emerson. And I mean, just the group of them. And Cole Young's not much older than those guys. I mean, he's what, 20?
He's 20. Cole Young is 21.
Cole Young. Yeah, almost 22. Excuse me. All right. But like, you're talking about a really young group of promising players. The only problem with talking about how good a lot of these guys are is then you start to form a bond. Like, oh, well, I want that guy. I want to see him for the next 10 years.
That's
and it turns
this
out
fan base has latched onto Montez
sure
like
feels
no
that
other
way.
prospect I can remember.
Yeah, and he's good, but this isn't Julio as a prospect, right? I mean, like, this is a guy with a lot more risk and
at least for now, right? You see him progress, you see him
rates.
answer questions, you see him face better pitching, you see him deal with things, maybe make a couple of changes along the way.
Because I got a texter on it, and it's a good question. We only have a couple minutes, but Celestine, a year ago, I thought would have been the first guy I would have asked you about. What's going on there?
Just stay in the lineup. Just got to stay in the line. He and Emerson both just get dinged up. They've had injuries that have put them on the IL, but then just get dinged up. They miss a game or two. They miss 4 games here. Both guys just got to stay in the lineup.
Still have the same upside potential that everybody thought? Or
yeah, I think so. And I think with Celestin, maybe, for me anyway, maybe has taken a half step forward there. I think there's going to be more power there than I originally thought. I really just thought, I know everybody wants to dream.
He doesn't hit the ball in the air enough. There's like
right, but you learn that. Like that was a thing.
Learn power.
You learn how to generate backspin, and better pitching induces a lot more ground balls from young hitters. So you get a guy, Colt Emerson goes to Everett this year, and hugely high ground ball rate. And people are like, oh, what's going on here? It's like, what's going on with his hands, and what's going on with his trigger and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, boom. He starts to hit line drives and drive the ball in the air a little bit more, and the results start to show up.
Guys, this was really fun. Thank you both for coming in and hanging out today. I loved it. Just talking baseball with two people who I love talking baseball with anyway, and getting to do it in person for 2 hours with you guys. Just great. Shannon, thank you, as always. It's great to see you. Jason, thank you. I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, it's been a while.
In person, so this was great as well. Jason Churchill, tell people where they can find you.
You can't find me on social media.
No.
Just come to Mercer Island and start screaming my name. I'll come out. We'll talk baseball for a while. We'll have a picnic. It'll be fine.
Prospect Insider, the whole deal. Jason Churchill. It's great. Shannon, thank you. And if you missed Jim Abbott, please go find that podcast. He was awesome earlier today. Brock will be back tomorrow. I'm sorry. I know. It's true. It was fun doing it without him the last couple days, but Brock will return tomorrow, and I'll be with you guys at 6 a.m. Until then, the hay is in the barn. See you, everybody.
Get to the chopper!
The All-Star Fantastic Four. It's now the Mariners' Fantastic Five.
Welcome to Randyland.
As Randy El Rosarena joins Andres, Brian, Julio, and Cal.
Holy smokes!
In the 2025 Midsummer Classic. Today at 5 from Truist Park in Atlanta. On the home of the Mariners. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words, packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
Everyone always asks me, what were your top reasons for choosing Advanced Hair? Well, allow me to share, along with some details, on, get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. Okay, first off, Advanced Hair stands by the results, and I'm living proof those results are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that blew away my expectations. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It is quick, simple, and easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, well, it's here. Advanced Hair's Summer Savings Event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details to schedule your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, Viagra is not the answer for your problem. I know you think it is, but Viagra has horrible side effects, and for most men, the longer you're on it, the less it works. Viagra is not a curative medication. It's not fixing your problem. It's a Band-Aid for a shark bite. Acoustic wave therapy is the newest technology that can correct your problem, not just treat it. We can do something that no pill can do. We can restore your blood flow naturally. Get off Viagra today. Change your life like the thousands of men who already have, regardless of your age or your medical history. If you're tired of dealing with Peyronie's disease or erectile dysfunction, then call West Coast Men's Health today.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
When businesses thrive, communities score. That's why Bank of America is the official bank of FIFA World Cup here in Seattle. And our more than 95 local business specialists are ready to help your business win. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
More fiber and laxatives, eh? Who are you? I'm Future You. Future me? Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Our doctor figured it out. It's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes